Hi guys, welcome to our new podcast. The name of the podcast is going to be, or is, The Vault of Cult, where on a regular basis, we don't know how regular yet, we'll be discussing a lot of the world of cult, kind of retro, and just general pop culture. My name's Chris, and I'll pretty much be hosting the podcast along with my friend
Mark. You alright?
Yeah, that's Mark.
Yeah. I'm sorry about the voice. It is what I was born with, I'm afraid, if you don't like it.
Don't hold it against him, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for our first episode, or should we say pilot, we decided to discuss our favourite films, mine being Ghostbusters.
And mine being Jurassic Park.
So that's going to be our first episode. We hope you enjoy it. We hope we can give you a bit of information, entertain you at the same time, and just take it from here, really, guys. So yeah, anyone that's listening, we really, really appreciate the support. Keep listening. Let's see where we go from here. Let's do it. So we decided to flip a coin to see who's going to go first. I've got many, many notes, so Mark hasn't, and that's not unusual.
Well, listen, I thought we were having a free-flowing discussion, but you're sat there writing the fucking Magna Carta on the back of that. So
yeah,
we had very different ideas going into this.
Yes, this is true.
But anyway, I would flip the coin and we'll see. Right,
heads or tails?
Heads. Well, you could have caught it. Right.
That's tails.
It is tails, right.
So me first.
You first.
Right, so let's talk about Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters, as I say, my favourite film, always has been. Just one of those films from my childhood that I remember, that had just a big impact on me in terms of getting into film. And, you know, I think you don't really need a reason to love something. As long as you love it, that's all that matters.
So when were your first time that you felt like you'd watched it? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's your first memory of watching it?
I genuinely don't know how old I would have been. I was pretty young, but I do remember the house where I was in. I do remember sitting very close to the TV, and it must have been shown on TV some point in the mid to late 80s, because it only come out in 84. Just pretty much just, you know, it's always been, when anyone asks me the question, what's your favourite film, that's just the first thing that's coming to my mind. And I think for me, it's got everything in a film. You know, there's comedy, there's a bit of scariness there, you know, there's hero saving the day, you know, which...
It's a remarkably well put together film. I often think it doesn't...
Yes.
It don't sag, if you know what I mean.
This is what I said.
You know, with some films you get a sort of mid-section sag, you know, where you're like, all right, crack on with it.
Yeah.
Usually where they can explore a few boring subplots in a film, but this one, it doesn't.
Considering it's on for an hour and 40 minutes, there is no, for me, there isn't any, like you say, there's no drag in that middle. And I think the way the film's structured, it's structured in a way where every 20 minutes there's something like important. Like I say, you know, the first 20 minutes of the film introduces like pretty much all of the main cast. Bang, right, we're in, here's the story, here you go. So yeah, I don't know, again, I know the word perfect is very often used for older films, but I do believe, for me,
so you're setting the bar high now, immediately. Immediately. So. Yeah. It's not just a good film, bang, it is the perfect film.
For me, yeah.
For you.
Yeah, for me it is, yeah.
I mean, bold step, it's a good film, but I wouldn't ever say, like, wow, that's a perfect film. It's a very, very...
What constitutes a perfect film, though?
Well, I don't know. You're the one who's wanged it out there.
Is it subjective or not, you know?
Yeah, no, it's something subjectively or objectively perfect. I get to you, it could be subjectively perfect.
Also, guys, I think a little segment we're going to introduce is something called Beverage for the Show.
Oh, okay.
And today's beverage, we are on
Well, I've just got a cup of coffee, to be honest.
That's the answer I was
The
expecting.
the entire fucking audience, the entire Britain is sat there like, what are they going to drink? What are they going to drink? And it's like,
we need a hook and beverage for the show as a hook.
Well, it's a good hook, but like, we've got a cup of coffee. I brought beer.
We've got beers. We have got beers. But, quickly we are making our way through on this absolutely boiling day. It's absolutely roasting.
It is.
We're both piss wet through, sat here in my kitchen.
I mean, guys, I've
had to get him a toilet roll to dab himself down.
I know. I'm literally leaving marks on things.
Mate,
it's fine. Sheer fucking sweat.
It's good. It's all good. It's all good. Right, so let me get started on a few interesting facts to do with my favourite film, Ghostbusters. So the film was released in June of 1984, the 8th of June to be exact. The budget was $30 million. Now, compared to today's inflation, what's that? Maybe 60, 70 million, really?
Sure.
I would
Sure.
I would think it is. I would think pre-inflation. But even back then,
what was the initial figure?
30 million?
30 million.
Yeah.
Probably.
And even then, that wasn't a lot of money to be spending on a film. It's quite significant.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But saying that, excuse me, the worldwide box office takings at the time were just over 295 million. 295, yeah. Which is pretty fucking good. And today's inflation, obviously, it made 626 million quid in today's money. So pretty respectable. I mean, that's probably one of the lesser Marvel films. If it's not Avengers making a billion. No, but it is like a Doctor Strange
spotted Marvel film.
Like a Doctor Strange type thing. An all-time ranking, it's number 6 for comedy ever.
Is it?
It is an all-time domestic.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
It's ranked 137 all-time domestic US. Still respectable, considering it's nearly 30 years. It's nearly 38 years old, and it's number 514 on the all-time international ranking. So.
I mean,
it's way down the list.
Well, yeah, but you've got to think to yourself. I often think stuff with like ranking lists of like, oh, you're such and such in the world of league tables or something. Like, I often think like when you listen on radio. And someone will say, and Britain is the 5th largest economy in the world, and people,
what does it mean?
But people in England go fifth, who's in front of us, and you're like, there's 200 countries in the world. Will you fucking get a grip with yourself?
Yeah, that's true.
Being 5th out of 200 and odd, you'd be sat there thinking to yourself, banging.
Yeah.
So 500 and odd, or whatever. See, these are the facts that you've gathered, and I haven't bothered.
Yeah. I have prepared immensely for this, where Mark hasn't.
You know what I mean? We're going to go deep dive into Ghostbusters, and for the last 10 minutes probably. We'll just have a quick with Jurassic Park. Good.
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it. Right. So back on track. So give you a bit about. Obviously, give you kind of the stats and the figures of the film. Briefly. Now, a bit of the history behind the film. Originally, the film was written by Dan Aykroyd, and he envisioned having John Belushi and Eddie Murphy in the cast as the main cast. So, vastly different film altogether from the kick-off.
It is a very different film.
And the original idea for the film was it was going to be set in the future where ghostbusting was commonplace. And it was just like an exterminator, basically.
Yeah.
And obviously they come across, uncover a plot from ghosts to kind of take over the human world. And obviously that was picked up by Columbia Pictures. Columbia Pictures thought it wasn't a great idea. They had then hired director Ivan Reitman to oversee the project. He asked Bill Money to rewrite it with another comedy legend at the time, Howard Ramis. A big comedy star in America, a comedy writer. So they got together, decided to rewrite the script and turned it into pretty much what we see on screen today, which is a team of scientists that stumble upon this, what should I say? not conspiracy is the wrong word, but you know, they discover that this building attracts ghosts, basically. Where
it's the centre of it's a paranormal centre
hub,
paranormal
hub,
a hub. Look at you with the linguistic flair on this podcast.
And obviously, Winston Zeddemore, played by Ernie Hudson, a big difference than Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy was becoming a big star at the time. You know, he's done a couple of stand-ups by then. But yeah, that was the original idea. Like I say, a lot of the people that made the film and around that film at the time were well known. Stuff like Saturday Night Live, which is a comedy show in America, which has been going for years and years and years. And a lot of big comedy stars that we know started off there by writing and performing on the show. So yeah, that's a little bit about the history of the film. Obviously, we're going to go on to the cast now. Obviously, Bill Murray, absolute fucking comedy legend.
Absolutely.
If you don't know him, you're wrong.
Yeah. How do you not know him?
How do you
not know him? Why?
Oh, I tell you what as well. Did you see Zombieland?
I did see
the comment
Zombieland.
made.
Yeah. No,
the cameo in that was
great.
Brilliant. I mean,
it is great.
He does this. Bill Murray. He has this dry wit.
It's good. Literally, I can't think of a film where Bill Murray's in it and I've not liked it.
Yeah. Because of Bill Murray.
What a
Groundhog Day. You know.
I love that film. It's so harsh. He's a. I was going to say a C word. No, I feel like we're a bit early in the podcast life to go for the C word, but he's a twat. He's an absolute twat.
He is.
In that to everybody, and I'm like, oh, Bill.
But I think maybe, you know, sadly when he does pass away, I think that'll be a high regarded film because. It made him. Everyone knew the type of character Bill, but it made him like he's turned him into like not the love story, but he's gone from a prick, which he normally plays, a smart ass prick and a ladies' man, to actually.
I feel like
finding himself in the film.
And twat is sort of like the wrong kind of thing because I feel like we might be given to our good listeners here the sort of thought that is not very likeable, but he's incredibly likeable and he's incredibly charismatic in the film. Well, not just in this film, but
I think he carries a charm, almost like a charm. I think so. Yeah. Don't take the piss on me on the pod.
Why?
Oh, okay.
Well, what have we come here?
That's true.
But yeah, he's an incredibly likeable fella. So whenever he's being very dry, it's sarcasm and it's his
very
wit.
much. Yeah. It is. But he plays it so it's. You're laughing with him.
Yeah.
Not at the.
I do find in Ghostbusters he is the linchpin of the film in many ways. He carries it. He does carry the film through.
Well, this is the thing because
so many other. I mean, Dan Aykroyd and the others are great. They're great. They are great in it. I'm in no way denigrating their very unique. What they brought to the film. Yeah. But the central hub of it is Bill Murray's
chemistry
character.
There is chemistry there within the cast. You can tell that, and obviously Sigourney Weaver, who was a massive star after Alien,
always a legend. Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, brilliant!
I often find I was watching this thing. There's this thing I watch on a well-known streaming website on the internet.
Let's not. Yeah, we're not advertising. We're getting paid.
Yeah. And the person on there, they do a breakdown of actress's career, and she's one of those who she doesn't mind doing something that would be lower brow if she likes the character, and I respect that of Sigourney Weaver, because a lot of A-list, particularly actresses, will turn the nose up. I think particularly actresses. Not that men don't do it as well, but I feel like actresses, particularly attractive, because she was an attractive woman back in her day, Sigourney Weaver. Let's be honest about it.
I rewatched it last night. She's a very attractive lady.
Yeah.
But even in Alien, you know, that was like 3-4 years earlier. You know, 79, like 5 years. So she filmed it in 78.
Yeah.
Young, but very attractive.
Yeah.
Very attractive. very individualistic features, I would say. So,
like, I can't imagine fucking, I don't know, Julianne Moore being in like something like Ghostbusters, you know, when she were famous, or what's her out of Silence at Lamb, Jodie Foster. Can't see her being can't see her. That is not to denigrate her. Both of those people, great actors. But I can't see her being in that. Sigourney Weaver, she seems like an actress. She likes the part. She's a character actress.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. She probably read the scripts and thought, you know what, I'm getting involved with this.
I like the part. I like this thing. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So again, you know, going back to the film, you know, I think it starts off, obviously, you got your Columbia Pictures logo, bang, there you go, and it starts the and you're like, right, oh, what's this now? And then all of a sudden you go in the New York Public Library, spooky music's playing, one old lady going downstairs, poltergeist activity. And then she walks around the corner, then it's bang, Ray Parker Jr. And you just think, oh my god, I'm in here. Bang, logo.
That theme tune, let us pause for a moment. Who are you gonna call? Fucking Ghostbusters. What a
Ray Parker Jr. And do you know what? Actually, Ivan Reitman, who directed the film, he directed the music video to it.
Did it?
He did. This is facts, fun facts.
Yeah, these are fun facts, guys. Let's have fun with them.
Let's have fun with them. Also, so going into it, right, so we're introduced now, right, there's obviously something spooky going on, and then the next scene that you see is Venkman burning hell, which is like plastered on his it's plastered on his door. You're going in there and he's performing some kind of test, some kind of psychokinesis where he's holding up cards and he's saying, what is it, a square, wave, and he's electrocuting him.
Dirty bastard. Dirty bastard.
He gets it right. He gets it right. He gets it right.
And he's still. I'm afraid not.
Yeah.
Like, oh, better luck next time.
And he says, and when she's just got every single one wrong, and he's like, yes, because he's obviously introduced him right. He's a bit of a ladies' man. He doesn't really take science seriously.
He's a pervert. He's a bit of a perv.
Well, any opportunity with a lady, straight away meets Dana straight away, and he's like, hello, you.
Yeah. Oh, hello.
And you know, that's fine. So, like I say, it setups he's not really asked about science. Obviously, the electric shock therapy, he's having a bit of fun with it. Then the next people that were introduced, it's Ray Burson. He's like, right, come on, we need to go. These big reports. Right, all right. Then he's like, oh, come on, then we'll go down. So Ray's massively excited about this, and he just wants to get involved and get down there. Gets to the library. Egon's there. Again, let's go back to the Joker. So you got Venkman, who is there, and he starts banging on the table. So, and then Egon's like, oh, what am I hearing here? And he slams a massive shits him up.
Because what I love about it, and why Bill Murray's character is so instantly likable, and we all know this person, fucking hell, like sometimes I've tried to be this person.
Yeah.
As a wind-up merchant,
100%.
That's what he exists for. That is his main task in life. Yeah, he's got his science and
do you know what as well?
And he's not really asked about. But I feel like what he's asked about is having a funny line. I feel like that character, not just Bill Murray, the character, he will take any opportunity, any opportunity to have a good line.
Massively. And obviously they got the guys go in. There's Egon, there's Ray. And there's Peter Venkman, and they go down and they see all this like goo everywhere, like ectoplasm. Like Egon gets some samples, and he's like, "I want to study this." Then they see a pile of books, and then he says, "Look at the pile of books." And he goes,
because no human had ever like that.
No human
would stack books like that.
Best thing is as well when they do eventually like find the ghost, and he's like, Ray, go and talk to her. And he comes out and he's like, well, I'm a representative and can we please speak? And she just turns around and goes, shh, just shushes him, and he goes, that's not working. So Venkman nushes him back. Next thing is like, I've got an idea. Ray comes round the corner, get up, bang! There you go, and the ghost comes right at him. You see him running out of the library, shitting themselves. And then again, this is where, for me, right, you've established the main core of the Ghostbusters, and then obviously you've set it up right, well, there's something to do with ghosts. And then the conversation that they have is Egon has a reading, and he actually says, you know, I've done some calculations here, and I think we can catch a ghost. So bang, the researching ghosts, you've seen ghosts, right, here's where you're planting them seeds now. I think it does this a lot, this film, where it's like, just kind of skipping ahead of myself, when Dana's in her apartment and the eggs start popping the Zool and the Zool's in the fridge, there's a massive pack of Stay Puft marshmallows just on the side, again, planting the seed for later on in the film. It is quite a number of things like that.
It's planting and payoff, isn't it?
Exactly.
Something is placed on screen to be prominently noticed or to be told to the audience in a throwaway that will pay off. That it's what good filmmaking's all about.
Exactly.
In my opinion, there's no point just planting something and then just letting a plot thread dangle there.
Yeah,
you know
there's
what I mean?
a purpose for everything especially in the context of this film.
Yeah. And I would agree. It's an incredibly consistent film in terms of pretty much all the things that it plants. It pays off at the end.
Everything.
There's a knot at the end of it. Well, that's tied up then.
Yeah. No, you're right. So, like I said, the story starts there, right? And they decide to go into business. Obviously, Egon's found out, right? He's sussed out it's possible to capture ghosts. And then at that point, they're actually kicked out of the universe. So again, we're planting seeds and we're following it up all the time with it. And right, I'm going to sell the family house. Let's go and buy somewhere. Right, we've got nowhere to go. We're going to do this research. Let's continue on this path. Again, next thing, they buy a firehouse. The iconic, absolutely fucking iconic firehouse. Now, one of these things when I went to just kind of get off topic, when I went to New York, I only seen the plaza where he explains to Dana after the second time Venkman goes and sees Dana. I did see that. That's like Columbus Circle, like at one end of like New York. I think it's like Upper East Side. But I didn't go and see the firehouse, which I would have loved, because it still exists today. The firehouse, but I think it's just like a building. It's not. I don't think it's functional.
But it's not going to have the fucking Ghostbusters.
No. Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, opportunity missed. You could.
I just wanted to see Actor 1 come bursting out the doors. Come on, boys.
Can I talk about the thing I discovered when I rewatched it?
Go on.
The thing. Well, I told you today, it's a hearse.
Yeah, it's a hearse. Yeah.
I had never noticed. I watched it when I was a kid. Never noticed. Just thought that it was a car. After, you know what I mean?
No.
And then I was like, oh, it's a hearse.
It's like a really old school American one, isn't it?
Because just point of reference, guys. I watched it several times when I was younger, and I've not watched it for a very, very, very long time.
I was a bit surprised.
I would say I hadn't watched Ghostbusters for a good 10 years, like at all.
Wow.
I think that's probably about a good 10 years. I watched it at uni with my mate. We went and had a few libations.
As you do.
And watch Ghostbusters, and that were I think the last time I watched it.
For me, it's one of them films,
and just to catch you up, I watched it yesterday night once again
for the pod.
For the pod. You know what I mean? So I have done a small amount of.
No. It's good. Yeah. Like I say, getting back to the film, we've introduced the firehouse. Right, the next thing. So we're getting into 20 minutes of the film here now. So we've set the story, we've set the tone, and then we go to Dana's apartment, introduces another the main female character. I know there's Janine in there, but we'll get to that. And obviously, this is how this whole baddie is introduced into the film. Whereas Dana, she goes into her apartment, meets her neighbour called Lewis, who we'll get onto in a minute. He's another integral part, one of the big characters of the film. And Dana goes into her apartment, she's putting her shopping away, as I say. She's got these eggs on the side, and these eggs just start popping and cooking on the side, and she's hearing these growlings and noises coming from the fridge. Opens the fridge, and it's this fucking beast dog thing, and it's Zool. Just out Zool. And she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Zool.
Yeah.
And then
understandably loses her shit.
Yeah, shits herself as you would. Right, and then we get the full Bang XL one introduced. There we go, here's the car. So they've got a business, they've got a place of residence, and they've got a car. And again, talking about Ecto 1, one of the most iconic motor vehicles in TV and film history. 100%. And I think what's interesting, if you go on you look back in all these big franchises and these big films, they've always got some sort of vehicle or place of residence, or again, you could go on about like Kit, Knight Rider, and Dukes of Hazzard, and from earlier on, the A-Team van, like Back to the Future. You could just go on and on and on. Batman, the car, the Batmobile.
Even fucking Scooby-Doo.
Oh, the Mystery Machine. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got...
It's a Hulk.
You've got... Even, we're going to be talking about Jurassic Park, them bloody...
Jeep things. Pretty smart,
they're not Land Rovers. I want to say Land Rovers. They're Jeeps.
The Jeeps.
Yeah. I was very... It's very that... if you're gonna have a robust little franchise, it's got to have a vehicle.
100%. I get it. It's just standard.
That sounds really twatty to say, but if you want a nice money-making, robust little franchise, then...
And you know what's interesting, right? Just talking there now, right? Look at one of the biggest franchises around at the minute. It's just purely based on cars. Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah.
Just made.
No. I mean, we will probably talk about that, but I can't fucking stand those films. Right, but anyway, we're not talking about Fast and the Furious. Fucking Vin Diesel changes his exhaust pipe, are we?
But again, I'm making a point that we've actually got to the stage now where we're making films just so people go and watch a car in a film, whereas before it was always a part of the film and then it become iconic kind of through the back door of everything.
So what we're going to ask you, as I made my robust little franchise comment, was there intention of... I feel like I'm getting ahead of what you're going to talk about, but was there already the intention to have sequels and for it to be Again, I think strikes me as the sort of film where they thought one and done, and
100%. And I think it's
whereas the one I'm going to talk about, the one I'm going to talk about, although I don't think it was planned, I get the impression that in Jurassic Park they had much more of an idea that they wanted it to be a franchise.
Well, I think back then when that was made, and obviously nowadays the first thing is if it makes X amount of money, bang, we're going to do another one. Whereas back then it was like we're just treating it as a one and done. And even
nowadays you can't have a film without being a franchise. That's one reason why I think Ghostbusters is the first one is so strong and so memorable, because He's not actually planting. See, this is what pisses me off about Marvel films. Right, they're good. They are good. And production value, and they've got all that Disney cash. Great. It's great stuff, and it's great pieces of acting. The cast is always impeccable. Cinematography is spot on. But what annoys me about them is that I feel like if I want to watch the new one, I have to do 8 weeks worth of homework to watch it. Right. Whereas that is much better. The Ghostbusters is much more from an era where, alright, it might have a sequel, but we're not going into it with the intention of having a sequel. Because I feel like if you go into it with the intention of having a sequel, that intrinsically ruins the film.
I agree. I think that's an interesting point. I do agree.
It ruins the story that you're telling, because you're constantly thinking, plant this seed here.
Yeah.
What if it does shit? You ain't going to get You're not going to get that second film, especially back then. Studios were always very wary of sequelitis.
Massively.
Do you know what I mean? Nowadays, they expect you to make the.
But saying that over it, you had the Friday the 13th series was well into gear by that time. At Paramount, over at Paramount, that was number 4 had come out at the same time as this. The summer of 1984, and so there were sequels about.
You can see what I'm saying now.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. So then the next character in the film that's introduced is Janine, and obviously Dana kind of sees an advert on the TV for the Ghostbusters. Who you're going to call? That's where the line comes from, really.
It's one of those. Oh, that's why they called it that.
Exactly. So she gets in contact with the boys. She has a brief conversation with them saying, look, this is something's happening. Can you come to me, Pam? So Bateman goes, here we go, sly little ladies man, back on it. Tinkly ivories. He walks in and he goes, he goes, oh, they ate that. And he's squirting this thing around the fucking apartment. It's not doing anything. He's just there just because she's a single woman. He's like, I'm going to go around to a single woman's house here and see.
No, but I love it when because she knows 100%
what, straight away.
What's that?
Yeah.
What is that you're doing there?
Yeah, you're right. She's like,
and it's like, oh, she's just
clown.
Thing, and it's like, oh, Bill Sigourney's on to you. I always forget the character names in this particular film.
Dana.
I don't know what Dana. Yeah.
Venkman, Peter Venkman is yeah. Right, so obviously then that's their first real job. And then obviously they kind of find cash somewhere to actually do the XO1 up, so it's actually got XO1 will play all the bells and whistles. It's got all kinds of shit hanging off the side of it. It's just, you go Ghostbusting, it looks like I'm about to go Ghostbusting in that. If someone drove past me in that, I'd go, they're busting some ghosts then.
Yeah, they're off Ghostbusting. What else would you be doing, Andy?
Exactly.
Like picking up your nan to go and get some bits from Tesco? I don't think so. You're busting ghosts.
So, moving on. The first ghost that we are really introduced to is Slimer. So they get a call. Ghost is in the hotel. Let's go to the hotel. Rocking up the boys. Now they've got all the gear on. They've got their uniform. They've got the proton packs ready to go. They walk in, and the first thing that someone says to them is, "Are you some sort of exterminator?" And he turns around and goes, "Yeah, we are." Yeah, and he's like, "Must be some big fucking cockroach." And he went, "Yeah, take your fucking head off."
Yeah.
So they get in there, walk up, they're all mincing about, as they do. And then this clock Slimer, very, very famous scene. One of the first, probably, big iconic line that come out of this film was, "He slimed me."
He slimed
Venkman has a one-on-one, and he loses, basically. Yeah. And he's lying on the floor.
He slimed me.
Ray runs round, Dan Aykroyd's character, runs round, finds him actually caked on the floor, full of slime. So anyway, Slimer gets away. He's downstairs, pissing about in some kind of banquet room. They take the three boys, go in there. He's flying around there, and he's like, "Flying around, we need to get rid of him. What we're going to do, right, so we've got to get in with these proton packs." So basically it's like their guns that they use to capture the ghosts. But one fatal thing that they need to remember is don't cross the streams, because that would be bad.
Yeah, don't cross the streams.
So Egon, the scientist who designed this technology, he said it'd be very bad, and literally we'd end life on Earth if we crossed these streams. They're that powerful. So anyway,
what is it Bill Murray said? Bill Murray said it's like a user safety notice. Thank you. Something like that. And I'm just like, but his face is like, you could have fucking said before we're there, just blitzing them about. You know what I mean? We might have been shooting them all around hotel, but if we accidentally cross the stream, bang, that's it.
Yeah, everyone's dead. We're all gonna.
Everyone's vaporised.
Seeing that being wild in the aisle.
Yeah, bang.
Right,
all right. We've ripped apart half a hotel, and you mention this now.
So the next line, so Egon's going a bit fucking proton pack happy, trying to get Slimer, and then the next thing is like one I've always remembered this line, and again it's full of my favourite lines in this film, and he says, he turns around and he says, whoa, nice shooting, Tex, and I thought, that's nice, I like that little line. So anyway, they managed to capture Slimer.
Yeah.
Wait a second, guys, we're opening a beer here, so.
Yeah, do you want one?
Yeah, let's have a beer. Let's have another beverage for the show.
Go on, you can
pick one.
Well, I'm getting you one.
All right. So, just a little pause here for a new beverage. I'm carrying in my hand. It's called Motive Beer Company, and the name of the beer is Mechanics of Illusion, a modern West Coast IPA.
We do need to work on the segue to this section. Like, if
you just got up, didn't you, and turned around and went in my fridge, basically, with no warning.
Yeah, mine's the Medvedgorod Brewery, the Golden Bear Pilsner. We don't know what they taste like. We'll have a look. It's got a nice picture of a bear on it, though.
I quite like. It's quite a nice label.
Yeah.
When I seen it in your fridge, you were down for.
I quite like it.
Oh, it's got a bear on.
Yeah.
Oh, this smells nice.
Is it?
Smell it.
It does smell nice.
Does it taste nice though? I like one when it tastes how it smells.
Yeah. I don't know. Try it. And did it taste nice? No idea.
Taste it. What do you think? It's very light, very mild. It's like wishy-washy. Don't know where it wants to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It wants to be. This, it just tastes like lager. I know it's pills now, but it's a nice one.
Do you know what I feel like? I'm going to enjoy it just because it's got the bear on it.
Nice bear on it. I'm literally that twat when I walk into a beer place.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy it because I like the look. I like the look of the
label.
And I've got a friend. She will probably appear on the pod at some point. She's like proper beer person, so I just make her go and pick them because I'll just be like, oh, I can picture on that.
That's even less than mine, and I thought mine was a bit.
Yeah, but I'm a bit clacky.
It'll do.
Anyway, good people of Britain now.
Yeah, back to the film. There we go. Right, so obviously they meet Slimer, they capture Slimer, and then we have a montage. Then we segue into a montage of where they're getting very busy. They're getting almost like celebrity status. There's a montage that shows them literally running around New York just capturing ghosts, and between that, it's flashing up with things like Larry King on the news. And
I must say, it's a very good montage. Is that because perfect montage should impart very quickly to the audience, this is what's happening, but we ain't got time to dwell on it, you know.
It's giving you a lot of information.
It's just literally, they're doing quite well. People know who they are. They're on, what's his name? Is it Larry? No, it's not.
Larry King,
Is that him? The New York
the talk host, It is Larry King. As well.
Yeah, I thought that were his name.
Larry King,
yeah. So it's a good little montage, bang, bang, bang. They're really getting noticed.
Time shows on the cover of Time and Newsweek, which are massive. At the time, they were massive publications. Yeah. So after the montage, which it is a really short scene, and it wasn't until I was a lot older where I realised what it was. So you've got Ray dreaming about being on a pirate ship, and he sees a ghost floating above him.
Oh God, yeah.
The blowjob scene.
Yeah.
Like he gets a blowjob off a ghost.
Do you know? I watched it and I laughed because obviously I watched it again for the first time in a long time. Laughed my head off, and I probably laughed my head off 10 years ago. But as a kid, I never got the reference.
I didn't, because you don't, do you?
Why is he undoing his trousers any round? Like you know what I mean? Yeah. Like move on.
Yeah, you don't even think in them terms.
It's a joke for grown-ups, though, isn't it?
It's one for the mum and dad.
It's one for mum and dad.
Yeah.
Like, we've took him to go see this picture. Some daft.
And it's only a PG as well, you know.
No, I know, but it's nothing happens. It's not.
But you've got to have a joke for the mum and dad,
you've got to have a joke for the
standard.
Dad, like otherwise, I mean, would you even say Ghostbusters is a kids' film? I don't know. I think.
Do you know what it was? I think at the time they realised that there was just the audience there for it, and they didn't realise, and I think it just become its own thing again, not skipping ahead, but with the merchandise, and it was all, and the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon that they made and stuff, you know, it just found its audience straight away, and kids just loved, because it was like spooky, and it's me and my friends are gonna save the day, and you know, I think that resonates a lot with a lot of like cult and pop culture things.
Yeah, it's spooky, but it's goofy. It's got.
This is what I was saying at the beginning, where it's got a bit of everything in it.
It has got a bit of everything. I suppose it's also got a bit of a jump scare if you're a very skittish sort of person. You do have to.
It isn't it's not a scary.
There is nothing fuck all scary about it. Although, I think a few weeks ago, I was trying to describe to you something that when I was little did frighten me. And I were going, and there's this woman. It's at the end when her with red eyes. You know.
Oh, you mean the actual fucking
What's it name? Goran?
No, it's
Gozer. Yeah,
the woman who's in it for about 60 fucking seconds.
No, I know, but like
flat top.
He did get me wet. I'd have been about 5 or 6.
Voice as well.
Yeah, I would have been about 5 or 6, and I was like, "Are you a god?" Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're like, what? Fucking hell.
Die. You know what I mean? It's daft, but when I was very little, you know what I mean? Because I have no memory of it coming out because that didn't exist. being the main reason.
I existed. But
well, I know, but you're 800, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, so...
Yeah. 799,
um,
don't get it right.
Yeah.
It's me and Mum
And a
Ra.
half.
Yeah, me and Mum Ra. The ever living.
But yeah, I did. I was like, oh, even as a kid, a bit.
See, but you remember that, though. It stuck with you, didn't it?
It did stick with me because I even said, I think it's got to be a week ago, and I'm like, there's some woman in her face, it scared me, and you were looking at me gone out for a bit. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, not a scary film, guys. So just as a bit of a warning for the little kids out there. It is not a scary film. You will enjoy it. Just because I imagine our parents nowadays are like, oh, but we can't let Crispin be frightened.
Oh yeah, no. Again, I think censorship is another conversation we can have and deep dive on that one. Definitely. I think we both got views on censorship there. So going back to the film, after Ray gets the Ghost BJ, the final piece of the puzzle is introduced, Winston Zedmore. Now, bear in mind, we're 40 minutes in here, and...
I did think that last night. I was like, well, we're introducing characters very late in the game here.
I think it's a well-known thing that his character was in it from the get-go, initially, and after rewrite, and it just got less and less and less, and I think still to this day, kind of, in interviews that I've seen, it kind of irks him a little bit. Because
I'm not surprised
he's a very much a marginalised character, even though he is a Ghostbuster,
Yeah.
It's a shame. It is a shame. It is a shame.
It is a shame, but to such an extent, I totally forgot you were in it until you'd literally pointed it out. I literally weren't going to mention it.
We're a third into the film now, so a third of the film's done.
I was thinking last night while I was watching it after a long time, like, wow, you're introducing characters late. And
do you know what's a bit sad about that character? He's literally, every scene he's in, everyone, the three of them are talking, and then he'll come in with like a bang, I'll just say this. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's like an afterthought, but it's almost like he's, it's again, for example, it's trying to get into that click, and he's not quite in the click.
There is something I noticed, and because they introduce him so late in the game.
It is.
But like you say, he's been in the... Like, obviously there's cut content there. There is sometimes...
Yeah, there is
sometimes where I just think to myself, he's very familiar with everything, with stuff that...
Well, he even mentions it. It's only, when, skipping ahead, when they get arrested, when everything goes to shit and Walter Peck, the fucking dickless, switches off the fucking... machine where they store all the things in the firehouse. When he literally that's him, mate. Like you say, there he'll come in and he'll say something, and that'll be it.
Yeah. Wasted character. I feel like.
Plus, he says he's only been there for 2 weeks. I've only been here 2 weeks. And obviously in screen time, that's what, it's 20 minutes, something like that. As the story gets into like the final third.
I like that we've landed on a criticism. It doesn't hurt the film, but
not at all. But he is, I think, like I say, it's disappointing knowing that he was in the script from pretty much the beginning, and he's marginalised, or he's not even introduced till like 40 minutes in, which underused, but underrated.
Yeah, no, I didn't dislike the character.
I don't want it to be almost like a token black guy. Do you know what I mean? In it,
I do. Like we're gonna end up setting a fucking Twitter mob after us by just even touching upon the area. But I do think it's a deeply underutilized character, and that I don't know what was going in, why they thought he was the adequate person to.
Again, the initial idea was that Eddie Murphy, which was an up-and-coming, quite a famous guy at the time.
But I don't think he's in the film long enough for me to really like him, like Bill Murray's character.
Again, that's a criticism, though, for me, I agree. It's a bit of a,
Dan Aykroyd's character, I really like it. Who's the guy with specs?
Egon.
What's the actor's name?
Oh, Harold Ramis?
Yeah.
He died a few years ago.
Did he?
Yeah, he died, yeah.
But anyway, I felt a connection with him. I felt with Dana's character, I felt some connection with it, even with what's the name, receptionist.
But because he's Janine, mate, Janine, the receptionist.
But I felt deep affection for him because I felt like he was a deeply underused character.
Again, I come back to what I said a minute ago. I do think he's underused and underrated in the Ghostbusters lore. I think he was in more of the real Ghostbusters. He was fair share because he's it's a kids' cartoon, so everyone has to get the fair share, don't they? But again, I definitely for me. Again, underused and underrated. Whether
it be a race thing, all we can say is
fuck knows.
It's not there, if you know what I mean. As a negative, it's not there.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got the Winston Zedmore thing out the way. So obviously, then it goes on to let's catch up with Dana. They find out that this Zool thing has something to do with this ancient fucking Sumerian fucking rituals, and that's what this Zool thing is, and that's what she's probably seen and heard. And obviously that's when you're introducing Zool and Gozer, the Gozer being like the main bad guy in the film, which is this female, are you a god? Like, that's it. She's literally on screen for about 60 seconds. I nearly timed it, mate. I wanted to time it to actually know, and I bet it's about no more than 60 seconds. It can't be more than 60 seconds. Again, which is weird because what big bad would only get 60 seconds of screen time,
I know, it's a very strange one because in this type of film you do tend to find that if you with a core ensemble cast, it will usually include a strong villain.
Yeah. To balance it out, and it doesn't.
And it doesn't. I mean,
the secondary villain, Stay Puft, is people remember that more.
He's much more remembered. He's much more remembered. But yeah, it's definitely it is very that. I don't want to call it a waste of a villain. I just find it interesting that the film, such a film like this, an ensemble cast, is carried without a central antagonist. I find that
and it's only right at the very end. It's only like that end sequence is only a 10-minute thing.
Both films that we'll be talking about, it doesn't have a strong central villain, which I find. I mean, we'll talk about the other one, but like Nedry is not a deeply integral villain. Okay, he has to do the bad thing in the first place.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
You know what I mean? But it is literally just an action that happens.
So, again, after Zool and Gozer, the big bad's introduced, then, we're having a visit from the Environment Agency, which is the famous Walter Peck, a.k.a. Dickless. He's like, can I please have a look at you storing these things here and what's going on and I want to find out about your operation, and basically just fuck him off. Like, what a chump. Fuck off.
I know, but like that, he walks in like, I just want to have a look where you're storing your things.
And Beckman's like, what's the magic words? And he's like, please, and he goes, no. Fuck off.
I feel like he's the sort of guy where you just, as soon government pettifogger is what he strikes me as. Yeah. And he likes but he likes being the pettifogger. Yeah. It's all very well like you
his
have the
look as well, the way he looks, he's smarmy little shit, and he's like,
and you just,
I love my job, and I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, like, I feel like.
Which he says it later on. He actually says, "I'm fucking get you." When he gets through out the mayor's office, he's like, "I'm gonna get you," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I miss you already."
Yeah.
So, but which is interesting because once you introduce the government or the local council wanting to know what they're doing, then the next scene after that is Egon explaining to Winston about the big Twinker, which he's saying that literally he's done some testing. There's something building here. We've caught this many ghosts and this much energy we're dealing with, and the energy, like the normal energy, is like the size of a fucking Mars bar, but the actual energy that they're dealing with at the minute is like a million times that, a million times the size. So it's something bad's going to happen here. What's going to happen? And then the next very famous part of the film that's introduced is these fucking demon dogs things, and I mean, I don't even know what the actual technical term. I think it's just like hounds or dogs, and
obviously they play their part in the sort of mythos that they're creating, but they're sort of like they're like hellhounds.
They serve a purpose,
you know what I mean? They're hellhounds. They appear in a lot of mythologies. I mean, obviously, most famously, Greek mythology, Cerberus, the
true.
three-headed
That's true. That's a good
hellhound.
point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a very noticeable motif, particularly in ancient religions. It's
Well, Sumerian gods, isn't it?
well, yeah, exactly. From a very similar part of the world, Eastern Mediterranean, or indeed the Tigris and Euphrates Valley. It's a leitmotif of.
So again, that's another kind of outlet for the badness that's going on. And then next thing that happens is Dana gets possessed by one of these mad dog things. You don't really see how it possesses her, but it takes her over. Venkman, kind of skipping ahead, Venkman finds her in an apartment possessed, and he's like, "Nah, something's not right here." But in between this, her the person who lives across across her hall in the apartment, Lewis, this little small guy, geeky guy, he gets possessed by one of these dogs as well. So they both possess. So again, these two characters have got a bit more legs in the context of the film. So next thing that happens then, both possessed. You realise that these are both possessed by these ancient spirits, one called the Gatekeeper, one called the Keymaster, and apparently what happens is every X amount of years, this ghost and now this evil just comes to be, possesses somebody, and the Gatekeeper and the Keymaster then get together. Don't really explain, are they supposed to sleep together or do they just need to meet in the same room?
Well,
I get the impression, that's what I mean. I think it's supposed to be a bit of an intimate thing where it's that creates the evil, creates that opens the door for this ghost to come through and in a fucking pink pretty much see-through suit and a flat top hairdo. So yeah again, it's bad times are gonna
best summary of like something bad happening. Bad times again. It'll be fucked if this succeeds, so you've got to stop it.
So right, so now we're kind of entering into the final third of the movie. So they realise that where all the evil's energy is coming from is Dana's apartment, which was built by these weird dudes, and they built it basically to worship this god. Again, is it ghosts or is it supernatural? Is it the same thing?
I think in the context
I think so.
of this film,
if you're going to put it in the context of this
film, it's not trying to go deep. It's not trying to be like, a deep horror film or out like that. So is it a ghost or is it a poltergeist? Same thing in it.
So you got Dana and Lewis, aka Gatekeeper, Keymaster, going to get together. They're the ones that are going to open the door for this other dimension for these all these ghosts and supernatural stuff to happen. But this Walter Peck then comes back into the picture. He's not happy with getting fucked off by Venkman. Venkman's just gone, on your bike, mate, fuck off, you're not having a nose around there. And he actually shuts the containment unit down, which then in turn explodes, releases all the ghosts along New York City, and all the ghosts, which it wasn't until I rewatched it again, it's like they all travel to the whereas it shows again another montage of practical effects ghosts and the cab driver and Slimer again eating the fucking hot dogs out the and little vendor things. So again, right, everything's kicked off now. The ghosts are free. They've all gone to Dana's apartment. The Gatekeeper and the Gatemaster get together, and boom, you fucks basically. End of days, Judgment Day, gone to shit. Ghostbusters need to get together. Something needs to happen. But anyway, they get arrested, go to visit the mayor, and the mayor's like, what's going on? And Walter Peck's back there, he's like, you need arresting. They've got fucking proton packs, and they're firing all these things around. And then these people in the mayor's office are like, well, we've seen shit that shouldn't really see, really. And then Winston turns around and goes, I've only been here for 2 weeks, but I've seen shit that'll turn you white. And I'm like, bang, another absolutely fantastic line. So anyway, in the conversation with the mayor's like, I don't know what to do. There's an advisor that comes in. Again, the religious aspect getting in there. He's some kind of cardinal or something in there.
He's certainly he's wearing the garb, the sort of...
I'd say he's a cardinal. I thought the impression
is at the very least the bishop. He's at very least the bishop of the nearest Catholic cathedral, which I presume New York's got, like,
which is what Staples stands on. I presume. I think that's where is that. To me, did you get that link where when they're on top of Dana's apartment and Stay Puft is trying to get to him, he's like, no one stands on a church in my town.
Probably.
See, a couple of little religious things, but not getting too heavy onto it. We'll stay away from that.
We are dealing with the afterlife, and we are dealing with spiritual forces, paranormal things. So it was bound to have a religious take to it.
And I think that's
there's your nod.
There's the nod. Yeah.
There's your nod. There's your nod.
Yeah.
Well, it's for. I sense this might be going a little bit tinfoil hatty here, as in like bit of a conspiracy theory, but I sense there's a moment where it's like, oh, it's about ghosts and the religious people will kick off if we don't mention God. So local bishop walks in and Ben's like, yeah, there's ghosts. Yeah, there's ghosts.
We've ticked that box.
No one steps in a church like, there it is. All the fucking Bible types. It's fine if you're a Bible person, fine. Like, why has that gone red?
Right, so we've only got 60 minutes recording per segment, so we might have to stop this recording and do like a part 2 and... Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah? I can edit this bit out anyway, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, I've got... Well, should we stop it there?
Yeah.
Go right.
Well, we've got to...
Yeah. Right, so as I was saying, the Ghostbusters get arrested, go to the mayor's office, and one of the best lines, probably the best line in the film, Walter Peck. So Ray makes a comment about, he's like, the mayor's like, who's caused this? And then Ray turns around and says, Dickless here, pointing to Walter Peck, this government prick. And then the mayor goes, is this true?
Yes.
and then Venkman turns around and goes, yes, this man has no dick. Brilliant.
Fucking great line.
Amazing,
it's one
isn't it?
In 10 years from not watching that film, it still always stayed with me. Like, immediately to get... Like, I know the point of the film is busting ghosts, but when someone says to me, Ghostbusters, the immediate thing I think of is true. This man has no dick.
You do. I think it is. He's up there with one of the lasting lines, isn't it? If not the most famous line from the film, because it's just one that you always remember it. Because it's like a put down. It's an insult. You remember that. So anyway, Ghostbusters. The mayor lets them off. They say we can save the city, and he's like, whatever you need, bang. We'll get the army involved. Get the army involved. They get a fucking. They line all the streets, all the people public. So this is at Dana's apartment now. Dana's apartment is fucked up. It's had a massive explosion. All the ghosts and supernatural shit running riot. So then the boys go up, and then they realise it's a woman dressed in this pink thing, and the dogs are there, and it's Lewis and it's Dana, but they're in dog form now because they've got together and they've opened up. The Keymaster and Gatekeeper got together, opened up the portal. And again, Gozer comes out. She's 60 seconds. Literally, all she says is, "You've got to choose the Destructor," which is the Ghostbusters have to choose that. If you open the gate, you've got to choose your Destructor, and it could take any shape or form of any kind of any entity, what you want. So she, at first Ray tries to talk to her and. Basically, she says, "Are you a god?" And he says no, and then she fucks him off, nearly fucks him off over the side of the building. They survive that. Then she says, she disappears, just into thin air. You try to shoot her, she disappears. And then you just hear her voice, you've got to choose your Destructor. And then all of a sudden she says, it's been chosen. And they're all like, looking at each other. I didn't say anything, did you choose it? No, I've not chosen anything. Then Ray pops up, I couldn't help it, it just popped in there. And they're all like, what? And all of a sudden the camera turns round and you just see this huge marshmallow man just walking between like a classic New York skyline, just in between the buildings. Bang, bang. All below, the street goes mental. Ghostbusters realise, what the fuck's going on here? And they're like, right, we got to kill him. We could just toast him. So Stay Puft Marshmallow Man literally walks down the street in New York, stands on a church to try and get on the building where the boys are, and they just toast him. Literally, proton packs, full blast, bang, killed him, done and dusted. During this, you see a little cameo by Walter Peck, and he actually gets twatted in the whatever's left of Stay Puft, which it was, in reality, it was shaving foam, but marshmallow.
But still.
It's Marshmallow Man.
Passable.
So that's pretty much the final battle. And then the film ends with big rapturous applause. All the boys are fine. Dana and Lewis kind of come out of their dog form, save the day. And then the final line of the film by Winston, again, you know, let's give him a line. I love this town. Then a Ray Parker Jr., one of the greatest theme tunes to anything ever, kicks in. And obviously you see them all like greeting the crowd and getting back in the car and driving off. Then the final shot of the film before the proper end credits come up, Slimer flies straight down the street towards the camera. Bang, black, done. What a film.
And the world was never the same again.
Never again. You know,
it is.
The race to save the world was one of the original tagline as well. So
I know you told me that earlier, and you were like, "That was the original tagline," and it's a bit shit as far as the tagline.
Like it.
I don't like that. We're to save the world. Yeah, so are a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? Like in movie franchises, not good. It's got nothing on. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters.
Yeah, who are you going to call?
Right, who are you going to call? That's the tagline.
It's one of the best taglines
It is no surprise that one is the one that has stayed with the franchise as opposed to to save the world.
And obviously it's linked, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
I think you've got the iconography as well, where you've got the ghost in the non-ghost sign, and you know, again you've got the car, you've got the fire station.
See, this is what
the outfits.
This is what I'd get, and we touched on it when we were talking about the wider franchise earlier. It's a robust little franchise.
I'm surprised they haven't done more. If I'm brutally honest, I think you could, because if it kind of rewinding right back when, you know, he sells his house and they get the money, and he's like, by the way, it's gonna the interest alone over 1 year is like $98,000. They even mentioned even Peter Venkman, Bill Murray says to him, we could franchise it. So again, there was an idea there that they didn't even realise where they could have run with it, and there was ideas over the years where they're training a new team of Ghostbusters. Yeah. You know, and even Dan Aykroyd's come out and said, I did write a Ghostbusters 3 called Hell something, or Hell. It's basically Hell comes to New York, basically, and the Ghostbusters have to save the day.
Sure.
And he said that's his script, but I don't know. I'm surprised. I know number 2. It's got its moments, but for me, even though I'm a huge fan of the first one, it wouldn't bother me if I never watched number 2 again.
You don't rate it. You don't hate it, but you don't rate it.
I like that.
Exactly.
I don't hate it, but we don't rate it.
I don't hate it, but I don't rate it.
Mate, that's one for the show.
Yeah.
That is one of our lines for the show.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I don't rate it.
You heard it here first, guys.
Don't use it. It's marks.
Yeah.
But I will.
Patent
pending. TM.
Registered trademark. Yeah. Don't hate it. I very much agree. Again, I don't think I've watched Ghostbusters 2 in about 10, maybe even longer years. It might have been I were a kid when I watched it, and I just thought to myself, meh.
Yeah. I do.
Don't hate it, but don't rate it.
And then weirdly enough, when there was a buzz about 5 years ago, like something's going to happen with the franchise, and then they eventually made the female version, which is...
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's not.
It's not
we've said
the worst
this before, haven't we?
Again, I think it sort of fits in the Ghostbusters too. I don't hate it, but I don't rate it.
Yeah.
It's there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
It wasn't necessary, but I'll watch it.
You know, like what is it there to get? Like, we're banking on the comedic value of Melissa McCarthy and her bridesmaids. What's her name?
Kirsten Summit, isn't it?
Well, anyway, we'll probably talk about Bridesmaids.
Yeah, Bridesmaids is good.
It's a great film.
It's funny.
So we'll probably talk about that at some point, and we'll forget. But he's banking on their comedic value, and of course, like the apparent sex appeal of whichever Hemsworth that is, the one who played Thor. Well, yeah, I know, but he's the less hot one of the two. I like the other one. I like his younger brother. Yeah, I do. I'm a homosexual. Shock horror. And if you couldn't tell by the voice, where even are you? Where even are you? Anyway, yeah.
They're on the bus listening to this.
They're on the bus. They're just sat there like, his turn gone shit. This podcast.
He's gay. I'm getting off the bus.
Mary Whitehouse clutching her pearls like, there's a homosexual in my ears.
Oh, I can't be hearing a queer. Can't be doing that. He's a queer on the pod.
Going straight for the queer. Wow. Wow. Episode 1, the queer.
Yeah. The queer.
Anyway. Yeah.
But then, moving on again, from going on to about the franchise, the new one that's due out this year, later on this year, Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is the same continuity as the original 2, where the story is, from what I've gathered, it's Egon's daughter and her children.
Right.
Because I've seen the last trailer they released, Janine was in it, talking to her about her dad, like, oh, your father, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Janine, yeah. We get one!
Yeah, it's a stupid fucking voice.
Oh,
like,
do you know what? Do you know what's really funny is what when they're like really busy. Ghostbusters, what do you want? Just like Ghostbusters, what do you want? Brilliant. Like it's just nothing now. Just like I'm sick of it now.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it. Ghosts again. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested again. I think it shows that sequence where the containment unit explodes and then the ghost. It's almost like a sea of light. They use that, and the dogs. I've seen the new trailer briefly shows the dogs as well. So it's linking it again. Yeah.
Zool dogs.
Yeah, the Zool dogs. Yeah. That's what we'll call them. The Zool dogs.
Zool. Well, that's what he says. Like Shepard's fridge, and he seats dog and Zool. So he's got to be called a Zool dog.
Yeah, Zool. We'll have that. Yeah, I quite like that. Again, we'll have that. It works for me. I prefer that to whatever the real name of it is.
I mean, what else we're going to call it? Off-brand Cerberus. Like.
So I'm interested. Obviously, I'm pretty pumped for it, to be honest, mate. Pretty pumped for it.
Pumped? Did you just say pumped?
Yeah, I am.
In a public forum?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, guys, right in, but I don't think he can pull pumped off. Like...
I know, but I am excited. I'm excited.
That's perfect. That's perfectly fine.
Again, let's celebrate a new Ghostbusters film. Let's not go out there.
Exactly.
The first thing to do is judge it. We
have discussed this before. Do you like Ghostbusters? Yeah. What are you moaning about then? Yeah. What are you moaning about?
Even the female one, just...
No, it's...
You don't have to hate it, you don't have to dog it.
Yeah, it's new Ghostbusters. No one's asking you to fucking pay and you have to go get Melissa McCarthy cunnilingus right after.
Yeah.
Just... It's not the worst thing in the world. No. All right, you didn't like the new one.
Yeah.
So...
But again, I think let's support it and we might get more, Again, I am surprised, mate. I am surprised that... they hadn't done more with the franchise because up until the female one, 84 to 2016,
it is a long old gap,
17, massive.
It's a long old gap.
Yeah, and I think it's you could almost like you say now with the cinematic worlds, everything tries to be building on. You could do it. You could do it and build it to a big bad or the Gozer comes back and she's more of a thing.
This is what I'm going to ask you then. Who owns the rights for Ghostbusters?
Well, Dan Aykroyd owns Ghostbusters.
He owns the rights.
He owns it, yeah. And he set up...
Because that's the thing.
But obviously,
like you
Columbia
need to,
Sony...
In order for it to be a good, continuing, robust franchise in the world of cinema that we live in today, it's got to be picked up by one of the big ones. And let's be honest, who else has got the resources other than fucking Disney?
Yeah, and again, it's a family-orientated PG film, so it's their realm, isn't it?
I imagine. I'm surprised that they don't already own the rights because Disney have a tendency to hover over. Like if they know, the rights might be up for grabs, they'll hover over and like fucking
ding ding ding
Thanos
ding ding ding
over the dying person. Thanatos, rather. More mythology. Thanos is prick out of Avengers, isn't it?
Yeah, Gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so they will do that. I'm surprised they haven't already. You know what I mean?
But again, I think Columbia Pictures, Sony bought them a long time ago, so it's Sony-owned Columbia Pictures. And again, Sony are not a big company, they've not got. I mean,
well, they are, but I don't think by any means filmmaking is their.
No,
it's not their raison.
But Columbia Pictures made some, good films. They've made some cracking films. Columbia Pictures. I'm not going to go into details just now, but yeah, as a studio, Columbia Pictures.
With 60 minutes in, I'm not going to go into details just now.
Well, it is the pilot, so we can be forgiven. Plus we're talking about something that we both love, and
I'm sorry for suggesting you are verbose.
talking about things that we love. let's start a Jurassic Park.
Shall we go?
Do you like that
Jurassic
segue?
Park.
Do you like the segue?
I do like the segue. It was beautifully done.
Thank you.
We'll see if it makes it into the final bit.
I'm like, Mark Part 2 just got deleted by accident.
Yeah.
But this, no, I'm...
Now, Jurassic Park...
65 million years in the
65 million years, you bastard! People, I was building up to that. I was going to say it, and he's beat me to it. You...
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought...
Firstly,
You know,
I think it's got to be said, once again, a bit like... who you're going to call Ghostbusters. I do think it's a wonderful, wonderful little tagline for it. Jurassic Park, 65 million years in the making.
It is good.
Because, like, if you don't know bugger all about dinosaurs... Well, yeah, if you don't know bugger all about dinosaurs, you're like, what do you mean 65 million years in the making? You've got an in.
And was that
but if you know it... Yeah, the end
the
of the
Jurassic period?
No.
See, okay.
Yeah, actually, it's very interesting. Most of the dinosaurs, what you will come across in the film, are not from the Jurassic period. They're from the subsequent period, which is the Cretaceous period. But Cretaceous Park doesn't really lap off the tongue in quite the same way.
About that. Like,
now, the dinosaurs existed in an era called... I like dinosaurs, everybody. Just so you know.
Now you do.
Now you do.
If you didn't, now you do.
Yeah. If you didn't, now you do. I like dinosaurs. But the dinosaurs existed in a... See, we've got eras and we've got periods.
Yeah.
The era is called the Mesozoic era.
Okay.
And within the Mesozoic, there are three distinct periods. So after a big mass extinction, there was the Triassic period, which was the first of these, and these were the dinosaurs first began to exist. Or to properly take shape.
I've got very, very vague knowledge of... But I do know what you're saying. I do know these different periods and eras and stuff.
And the dinosaurs just begin to take over from... Again, after one of the biggest mass extinctions, the Permian Triassic extinction. It's so even known as the Great Dying or something like that.
Right, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's massive extinction. And before then, there was a type of... Well, we want to say... They used to call them mammal-like reptiles, but now they're moving away from that.
I do know that different periods, and then, again, it's like...
They're moving away from having the reptile thing.
They evolved.
More of a... forerunners to modern mammals, really.
Okay.
They were basically the dominant species upon Earth. But after the Permian extinction, the dinosaurs begin to take over to fill that niche left by the now deceased, what you call therapsids, the top predators. They overtake them, and anyway, that's the earliest part. So the dinosaurs finding their feet, and then the next period is the Jurassic period, which is
that the more classic what you would think of?
That is Brachiosaurus. That's your Stegosaurus.
Yeah, okay.
Is stuff like that. Your long neck, your sauropods begin to... We see in the film, I know I said it's mostly Cretaceous dinosaurs, but you do see two... definitely Jurassic dinosaurs, which are the sauropods, so the long-necked ones you see. It's the first dinosaur the first dinosaur you see is a Brachiosaurus. Which is a type of sauropod.
Yeah, when Grant
this is life will never again be that large, is what Walking with Dinosaurs said. And these were when the biggest creatures on the planet.
I like that show.
That ever get
we've spoken about
great,
that. Yeah, Walking with Dinosaurs is a good show.
You don't know who I am until you know that I really liked Walking with Dinosaurs when I was a kid. But then the second dinosaur that you see a lot of, well, you don't see a lot of it in the film, but is Dilophosaurus. You know, the one with the spitter,
the venom spitter thing, the tar black
which
thing.
Is not the case, I don't believe, with the Dilophosaurus. It's just, but that's a relatively small.
Is that
what you
dramatic
call
license
theropod
type
dinosaur?
thing?
Yeah, it's which again is fine.
Yeah.
Right? You needed something, so okay.
But again, how would you know that?
How would you know that? I didn't know that. For 8 years, I thought they had the fucking
Yeah. But again, how would you know that it didn't though? As well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, it becomes they're from the Jurassic period, and literally every other dinosaur you come across is a Cretaceous dinosaur.
How many species are actually in the first one? How many different species are in there?
There is. Let's count them. So you first see a Brachiosaurus. You see in the distance a Parasaurolophus, which is the at
the end, the one that's flying next to the helicopter at the end.
It's got like a spike there. You see them only walking in the distance.
Yeah, when they like the Serengeti scene.
You see them walking in the distance, and there's a couple of them coming out of like that lake thing. And
I think they're in the others.
There is they do appear properly. They do appear properly in the sequel. That's the one where in the sequel they take it down with a load of ropes to catch it. So you see one of those in the first film, but only at a distance, and then. Of course, there's the sick Triceratops. Yeah. Which is a Cretaceous dinosaur. Okay. Late Cretaceous, around the time that T-Rex appears. Okay. At the same time, late Cretaceous, 60 to 65 million years ago, they were around.
Well, that's the tagline.
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously you've got T-Rex, the among the top predators in the late Cretaceous. So that was around about 65 million years ago. T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex means, of course, Tyrant Lizard King.
King Lizard,
marvellous name. And then, of course, what you have... Well, Gallimimus, which is the runny
the little
ostrich.
Ones, yeah.
They're quite big, aren't they?
Oh, like an ostrich.
They have to hide behind the piece of wood. And finally, we have that our main fucking excellent thing was what the film calls a velociraptor. And I wanted to bring this up because that's what I was looking forward to talking about. A velociraptor, as it in paleontology, is a very small creature. I would say no bigger than your knees. Is a velociraptor.
Really?
Tiny little thing.
Okay.
And what they were actually more based on is a dinosaur called Deinonychus.
Okay.
Which means terrible claw. You know,
which is how it's introduced in the film, isn't it? With Alan Grant's got.
And now it just simply came down to in the film that they thought Velociraptor was a better name than Deinonychus.
True.
Well, I really like the name Deinonychus, but it takes a bit of explanation.
It's not one for the kids, though, is it?
It's not one for the kids. It literally means in Latin terrible claw. Like I like that, but that takes a bit of explanation. Velociraptor is quicker and But what was interesting is that they didn't base, but when they spoke to paleontologists, they saw. Like skeletal remains of a much larger one, Deinonychus, I would say. So we've got Velociraptor probably about up to your knees,
which I would say is normal.
Up to your knees, tops.
Right. Matt stood up now.
I'm actually stood up presenting these things. Up to your knees. Deinonychus, I would say, was probably about up to what would you call it, like your sternum.
Yeah, the chest.
It's got, this sort of area.
Just below your tits.
Yeah,
that'll do.
But they found the remains of a much larger one. They'd found it in the 70s, but just after Jurassic Park came out, they reclassified those bones as an actual distinct kind of raptor called Utah raptor.
Oh, is that where it's found?
Yeah, in Utah.
All right.
So someone said, I can't remember which person said, but someone said we thought of it and then they discovered it. The raptor, what they call in the film is a velociraptor, is actually in many ways a bit of a smush together of three distinct species of
See, I think the public opinion of a velociraptor is what people have seen Jurassic Park.
But this is it, and we will talk about it, that Jurassic Park not only had such an influence on how monster movies are done, but it also had a lot of influence, I have to say.
Do you know what? Sorry to stop you, but I think that's a very good point. I do think, thinking about it there, you'd put it in the monster movie genre. I like that. Yeah.
It is a monster movie.
I see that.
It is very much there with the Godzillas and
I'll give you that.
It is a monster movie, but not only did it have a massive influence on that genre of filmmaking and indeed just how films are made. Like we'll come on to the stuff that Industrial Light and Magic did with that.
From what I know,
it holds up. You watch Jurassic Park and you look at that Tyrannosaurus and you're like, that could be in a film now and I'd have no problem with it at all.
I believe ILM had to create the technology to make that.
To a certain extent, yeah.
From what I believe.
But anyway, to finish a long drawn out point, is that Jurassic Park also had a big influence on how dinosaurs are depicted, not just in film but in documentaries 100%. As well. I watched this documentary where basically the flat back of most two-legged dinosaurs before Jurassic Park, still in popular culture, were still being shown as standing much more vertically.
Oh, okay.
Whereas you look at the T-Rex in a much more scientific paleontological way, is much more...
Probably because
the legs are moved forward, the tail is out back for balance, and the back is flat. That is how they, as far as we know, paleontologists would say that's got to be how they walked, how they looked, how they held themselves. But before that, a straighter back was still being depicted in films, obviously not in documentaries, but in films. It had a great effect, and not just on film, but also in the...
I think it shone a light on paleontology as well for me, because I remember dinosaurs were fucking everywhere. I mean, I've seen this, I said this to you before. I remember going to the cinema with, I went to the cinema.
Again, because you're 802, but...
799.5 of a green.
Okay.
I do remember, my mum took me and I've got two sisters, and, my younger sister... we went to the cinema to see it, and I remember it having a massive impact on me. And again, even at that age, God, I was 10, something like that. I was 83. I was born. And it came out in 94.
I was probably 1993.
Was it? Well, I was 10 then. I was pretty much like 9.5, like at that age. And I remember just seeing them from then on, just dinosaur shit everywhere, every fucking where. So that that's the again you probably go on to this, but the impact it had as
I asked you when we first started on Ghostbusters, when's your first distinct memory of watching it?
Go on.
Right. You see, I don't have a distinct memory because my brain has clearly played some kind of trick on me, because I distinctly remember watching it in the pictures, but I can't have possibly, because I would have been 4. There's no way the theatre would have been...
Must have been a re-release at some point.
Do you know what I mean? I have a distinct... I was sat with my dad...
Which you don't get these days. You don't get re-releases.
Yeah,
just because...
people think, people just download it, they'll stream it, which you will. Like, let's be honest with yourself, guys. You're not going to be like, I'm going to pictures to watch the re-release of The Lion King again. You've probably already got it.
Hey, listen, talking about the difference between the actual cinema experience and watching films at home is for another podcast.
It is for another, and I think both are equally legitimate in many ways. They're doing a very different thing.
100%. It's a
and there are films, and we will get into this, guys. There are films that work as a home, as something to watch in the home, and there are films that work their best on the big screen at the cinema.
Not to get off the point, but to go on to carry on that point.
Yeah, because we've been so succinct. And
I think that the crossover you mean about now, I think it's where we've got big budget, high production TV, like HBO stuff, like, for example, like your Game of Thrones, where they're spending small film money on it, You know,
it is, yeah.
You're blurring the lines, and and everyone's got a fucking decent sized TV now. And I mean, a lot of people are more clued in with the audio side of things. I mean, I'm a big audio hi-fi fan and stuff anyway. So I think things like that are. It's almost meeting the cinema halfway, and then cinema will take over because you've got. It's cinematic, whereas there's a point where it becomes cinematic. But we're at that point now where we have met the thing is, standard.
A TV show is doing it can't just you can have a blockbuster film that will do very well and that is really skirting by with a wafer thin, gossamer thin plot.
Yeah,
but it relies on spectacle.
Talking about plot. Which wafer thin, which Jurassic Park definitely isn't.
It really isn't, actually. It's surprisingly deep film. The message itself is somewhat hackneyed.
So really, let's rewind and let's start from it's the film. It's a book. It was originally a book.
It is originally a book. It's a 1990 book by the author Michael Crichton,
which is a very famous sci-fi author. He wrote Andrew Reader's Strain and a couple of other things. And he wrote. Did he write like Outbreak or something?
Yeah,
something like that. I'm not sure if he's what bibliographer. I'm not sure.
I mean, I listened to the book on Audible several years ago. I was an early adopter of Audible. I love an audio book.
I don't read, so...
Well, it's not reading, is it? It's listening.
It's reading with your eyes closed, isn't it? But it's like I'm not for getting a story told to me. I'm not...
Alright. As opposed to a film.
I read comics, but I don't read books.
But, yeah, I listened to it a fair few years ago. Only once. It's a good book.
Is it?
It's a good book.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is somewhat different from the film. There's a lot of plot ideas and there's a lot of things that have been changed, but also. The core is there. It's at the core. I would say it's the same story.
Okay.
And I think when you're adapting something, that's the main thing
you
have to do.
You get the bones and you add the meat.
You've got an hour and a half to 2 hours to tell a book that big. You can't tell the story. You've got to tell the core.
Well, a script versus the book. You're talking. Going on script wise is a page a minute. Basically, so you've got 120 pages there, and a book's 300-400 pages, isn't it? Really, so
exactly.
You can't do it. And it fucks me off that people moan about. It's not like because
it's not like a book because
it's a
that's
film.
A book.
It's not a film.
You know what I mean? Like the author.
Don't watch the fucking film. It's not going to be the book because. Again, I've touched upon it before. I always believe you're on a losing battle anyway. Because people are going to picture that in their head different than what they're seeing, and that's where it's not because they're not enjoying it. It's because they're like,
I do find because I'm not an avid reader. I'm not an avid reader, but like,
you've got fucking loads of books though.
They're all history books though, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not an avid storybook reader, but I've read a few things
like fiction,
I've read a few fiction books, like not as many as non-fiction.
Yeah.
But.
Well, history's facts, isn't it? So
yeah,
there you go.
But I think it's somewhat fruitless to spend your time going, but they didn't have that scene.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like, well, yeah, of course they didn't have that scene because they have to push the story along. Every minute of a film, every moment of the film, the plot should be progressing. You haven't got downtime. You haven't got time for a pointless piece of exposition.
Prose and whatnot. Point of view and stuff.
When you've got a film, we talked about that montage in Ghostbusters. It's a good montage because all it needs to do is impart quick stuff to the audience.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're diverging once again. But back to the actual film. So as soon as he wrote it, fun fact by the way, he was also writing a pilot called Emergency Room, and so the screenplay.
I did know that. Yeah. Interesting fact that. I did know that.
Now he knew Steven Spielberg, and Steven Spielberg had said to him like, "Well, what are you working on at the moment?" And he said, "Oh, something about dinosaurs and stuff." And apparently Spielberg was like, "I fucking love dinosaurs." Probably didn't say it like that, but. you know, I love dinosaurs, show me it. And then apparently Steven Spielberg had said, mate, everyone in Hollywood's going to want this.
Right.
Practically straight away. The book comes out, you know, does relatively well, but straight away Hollywood's immediately looking for options. I've written down here, did write something down.
Okay, yeah, he's looking at his notes
Fox
now.
wanted it, Warner Brothers wanted it, TriStar wanted it, and of course Universal wanted it.
Well, he had history with Universal, Jaws.
Yeah.
He had history with them.
Exactly. So a lot of people were optioning this book, but again, because of the relationship there with Spielberg and Universal and the like, and he wanted it to go to Steven Spielberg.
He's Universal as well.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure E.T. So again,
E.T. Yeah,
he's got history with Universal on his soul.
And obviously, the production company is if I'm right in saying Spielberg's own.
Amblin. They produced a number of films. One of them being E.T. and another one being Jurassic Park, amongst others.
But yeah, so he wanted Spielberg to do it. A man who obviously believed in his work, and at that time Spielberg was banging out like...
Oh, he was King of the Ring, wasn't he? He was King of the Ring.
Yeah, they even called him the master.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, he literally invented the summer blockbuster in 1975 with Jaws, so...
Yeah, exactly.
He's King of the Ring, and he knows his score. He had a couple of duds, though. He has had a couple of duds along the way. So he's not...
Let's not overhype a man, but he has had some bangers, and I think this one.
But he is the toppy of the tree now. He is,
yeah.
You know, there was a period. I mean, Close Encounters and shit like that. Yeah. You know,
he's a great filmmaker,
a great filmmaker that makes films for the audience.
Yeah,
you know,
that's really, I think, has got to be the takeaway. He gives people what they want. They want the summer blockbusters. They want a heartfelt but exciting and amusing film, and he always brings that consistently.
There's always heart to his films as well, you know. Yeah. There's always heart.
So, yeah, they immediately start, and
greenlit it, bang it, we got Happy Days.
Universal ends up getting it. And they begin production, and at first no one really knows how to bring these dinosaurs to life. No one's...
I do know this was the biggest challenge making, because it's like how can we...
Because they wanted something to...
Because practical effects it wasn't going to get any better at that point in time in the early 90s, you know. They took practical effects as far as you're going to go, really.
Yeah. And the initial wish to do for it would be the large close-up scenes would be done by puppetry.
Animatronics and such. And
animatronics, and like some of the... Practical. I mean, the animatronic of the T-Rex,
brilliant.
Like, not only is it fantastic, weighed an absolute fucking ton.
Yeah.
Weighed.
And didn't they build pretty much like 3/4 of it as well? And it was, they could move it literally any direction. And
to scale, you know,
35 foot weren't they, a T-Rex?
Huge creature. So, yeah. But for the more dynamic scenes, well, obviously you've got to have footage of them running. You've got to have footage of them interacting with stuff. So the initial thought was to do it stop motion.
Oh, that's Mark's phone, that, by the way. He didn't put it on silent.
Well,
don't look at it.
I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to put it on silent.
No, you wasn't. You was going to check your phone.
The initial...
No, you can check your phone. I'm only joking. You can check your phone. You might be someone that needs you.
Yeah, yes. It isn't. Fucking...
Put it away then. Put it on silent. Put it away.
Put it away.
Put it down.
So yeah, stop motion being their initial wish. what they wanted to go for.
I do know that, yeah.
And to be fair, I've seen some of the
Didn't you get some... I can't remember the guys. They got some guy that was like...
Steve Tippett.
Who was like the tippy top.
Yeah,
and basically, from what I know, is Spielberg said to him, he had a vision of like Clash of the Titans, but having it modern and smooth. But even with today's... Even then in 90... So it probably was 91, 92 when it was pretty like getting developed. You know, we've got cameras now where it's ultra slow, where you can get that smooth, like the Wallace and Gromit. They're all like old school, like that. It's move it, clip, move it a bit, click, move it, click. And I have seen some of the footage myself, and it doesn't look too bad. And I'm sure some of it made it into the film.
I'm not sure any of it actually did, but.
I'm sure when the T-Rex get attacked at the end, I think that is...
I feel like you're right, actually, because, like...
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, Modest too.
100%.
The guy, after he stopped sulking about it, because... Oh, right, well, here's the thing. The initial thought is... we will do it stop motion, but then a bunch of mavericks, I've genuinely forgot his name, at Industrial Light and Magic.
I don't know the guy's name.
I can't remember, but he literally thought Industrial Light and Magic ILM, which is of course George Lucas's.
It was owned by him at the time. Yeah, it's owned by Disney now.
Of course, but they just bought
exactly. What don't they own? They don't own me and you.
Yeah, they don't yet. Yet that we know on. Imagine this.
Mark's going to go first.
I would definitely go corporate for Disney. Absolutely, straight away. It's a whole new world. Is that?
Love it.
Yeah, imagine this podcast does absolutely gangbusters. Like a Disney straight there.
If you're listening, Disney, I'm open.
Yeah. If you're listening, by the way, we are open to franchising options. 100%. Just throwing it out there.
Feel free, get in contact.
We'd have to tone down the language, though, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, we'd have to definitely keep it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They won't allow that.
Well, we won't even allow it in the open. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I can't believe they are taking the Lord's name in vain on a podcast about children's TV shows. Not kids' shows, bitch! Where were I? Industrial Island.
But I do know that guy, and like I said to you before with the podcast...
He was just there a bit of a maverick within the studio. All ILM were taken on to do was because there was a worry. That
would you like another beverage?
I would like another beverage.
Okay.
Beverage. So ILM were taken on to.
But he created it. He created the technology.
Well, perhaps I will finish the point. I will have Veronica.
Oh, you said it better than me.
Well, because there are a series of letters and I use them phonetically. Phonetically.
I was going to say this.
Phonetically. Alright, fucking hell.
Dick. So this dude at ILM, he created this technology.
They just wanted him to link the stop motion together so it looked less clunky.
Okay.
Are you having difficulty opening that for me?
I really am, actually.
Jesus Christ.
It's because it's
there's a perfectly understandable bottle hidden with a bottle opener and it's just causing him chaos.
I actually can't do it. I actually can't open it.
Oh, it is a bit of a bugger.
Oh, bollocks!
What? I welded it on!
How can you not get it off?
Oh, shut up, you dick.
Oh, no!
Well, no.
Oh, have you got one on your keys?
Yeah.
Oh, I noticed that in work, actually. Yeah. Oh, by the way, me and Mark know each other because we work together.
Yeah. See, better it's this shit bottle that you provided.
Oh, it was doing alright until fucking you pulled that one out. So this guy at ILM, come on.
So, yeah, this guy at ILM, he's taken one look at the T-Rex and he's thought to himself, well, I can do that better. Yeah. I can make it look better. And he animates it. I don't know. Chris keeps saying they did invent it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether they invented the technology.
He did.
But he certainly...
He invented
he certainly finds a way of animating this T-Rex. He literally animates the skeleton of the T-Rex to walk across the screen. And... Yeah, he thinks he could do it better, and he literally, when the producer, who some of our listeners, if they like,
we still hope you're out there,
films,
guys. We still hope you're out there.
Yeah, if you are indeed are. One of the producers is Kathleen Kennedy, who is now strongly associated with Star Wars.
Uber producer.
Yeah. Produce fucking everything.
Yeah, she's,
you know what I mean. She's got fingers
so many,
everywhere.
yes.
Fingers everywhere. We could name some, but like
we'll move on.
Everywhere. Well, anyway, she just went to go and have a look at the work it had done. It was sort of like a little job for her, like just see, have you tied them all together? And instead, this lad at ILM literally just puts it on a screen next to her, and she clocks it immediately and goes, "What's that? What's that?" And
right.
The people there at ILM are a bit like, "Oh, well, just something the lads have been working on." But no, this maverick lad, again, I wish I'd have remembered his name. He's just like, "No, I made it for the film you're making now. Like, I could do the T-Rex better," and they're really impressed. And obviously he goes on to animate the whole thing. Now, we have to talk about the stop motion guy now, because again, like I said earlier, he did some really good stuff. They hold up.
I have seen it.
I wouldn't hate the film. I would not hate the film if that's what it looked like.
The Velociraptors.
Yeah, I would not hate the film if that's what it looked like. He's a great stop motion artist, clearly. But he takes it quite poorly, like, because obviously Kathleen sees it, and then she has that screened to obviously Spielberg, the other producers. George Lucas is there because
he owned ILM.
They have a close working relationship anyway. So
I think ILM was based at his house, literally his house.
So anyway, they go there. Steven Spielberg literally has a fucking orgasmic attack over how this fucking motherfucking T-Rex.
Well, 93
looks.
Back then, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it looks great.
Like you say, it does hold up.
The fella takes it somewhat hard.
Well, he's gone. It's not good enough, basically.
Well, yeah, and that's shit. But anyway, they decide to go with ILM's and all the better for it, because as I already hinted about when I went on a long tangent about dinosaurs, they hold up. The effects
agree.
in that film hold up. You will look at that, especially the T-Rex. The T-Rex was always, it was clearly what they spent their
even
time
that
on.
Scene where he's chasing Malcolm on the back of the Jeep, and it twats into the big branch and that. It still looks decent.
So, yeah, it holds up. You would look at a film that looked like that now, and you'd think no issue with that.
Do you know the other film I always think of around that time that still holds up CG-wise? Terminator 2.
Well, it's the same fucking company as well.
Exactly.
It's ILM.
If you watch Terminator 2, mate, you're like, what? It's still good.
As you would say, tippy top of.
It is the tippy top.
Tippy top.
They were, mate. They were.
So yeah,
so we've got
ILM.
They're going to do the fucking. They're going to bring these dinosaurs to life. Right, bang, right. We're ready to go now.
And they go and film. They thought about doing it in Costa Rica, which is of course where it's set. It's an island off the coast.
What's
of Costa Rica.
Isla
Nublar. Isla Nublar.
And is Isla Sorna the second one?
The second one is Isla Sorna.
Right.
Isla Nublar is this one.
Okay.
But anyway, it's an island off the coast of Costa Rica.
Kind of looks like Africa on the map, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
It looks like Africa, doesn't it? Or South America, more like it looks like.
It's very that.
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, that's another thing we'll talk about. There's so much extra stuff you can buy, like the map showing where each of the enclosures are. Great stuff. But they were going to film it in Costa Rica. They obviously thought about it, but they decided, no, we'll film it in Hawaii, because why not? And obviously they do everything they do. There's the usual logistical problems, and then there's a fucking storm, a massive storm.
Okay, I don't really know that much about the production history on it.
Exactly. There is the storm that
we're going to have to go to part 3 here. It's part 3 of this. It's happening.
Exactly,
it's got to be done.
The storm that happens in the film happened in real life. Like they were so Steven Spielberg literally said, this massive storm. People are hunkering down because of this massive fucking storm.
Okay.
Devastated, like the local community.
Did you just say where they filmed it?
Hawaii.
I thought it was Hawaii.
Yeah, and so the scenes where he's like, he knew, we've got to film a storm. There's a fucking storm.
And was that at the beginning of production as well?
Well, it's sort of like halfway through.
Okay.
I think they were getting to the point where they filmed pretty much all the things that they needed to. They needed to just do inside stuff, and they can obviously do that.
So the cast was there, and
and so they literally filmed the scenes for the storm.
Oh, okay.
In a real storm.
Oh, right. Okay.
Real storm. So authentic footage from that, and obviously they had to fly them out. And, briefly, martial law was declared on the island.
Right. Bloody hell, okay.
Like it was. That sounds dramatic. That literally just means that in an American context, the federal government has taken over the immediate application.
Yeah, but it's a health and safety thing at the end of the day.
It sounds dramatic, martial law, as if like soldiers, they're pointing a gun at you, putting you on an evacuation. No, but
it's just safety first.
You couldn't get off the island, and Kathleen Kennedy basically just knew a guy who flew for Costa Rica Airways or something like that, because
some guy on the plane.
Now he's also an actor who knew how to fly. He's in Indiana Jones. I feel like you were in Indiana Jones.
He was a plane guy at the beginning of Indiana Jones when he's running out. When he gets the idol and he's chased through the jungle.
Him. And he literally flies.
The seaboat. What do they call them? Biplane. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. The viewers will know what you mean. Also,
they can't really see us, the listeners.
Boat plane thing.
I've got a boat plane.
But yeah.
So he saved the day?
Saved the day. Flew him off, and they continued the rest of the production in Los Angeles on the lot thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's where they filmed all the kitchen scene, iconic and stuff.
So, I mean, do you know what I think out of it, right, to kind of get onto the cast? I mean, I'm a big fan, right, of Dr. Malcolm.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
I mean, I'm a big fan of him anyway.
Goldblum.
because I think The Fly, the remake that is in The Fly, directed by David Cronenberg, I think I think it might be in my top 5, you know.
Is it?
I think it's a brilliant film, dark and he's really good in it. I think that's the first film there where he was in a big film but playing his quirky. He's very unique, I think, as an actor. I don't think there's many people like him that bring that quirkiness but that broad appeal at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But I do think he's my favourite character in the film. But I do like that.
One,
I like that guy, the fat guy who tries to steal. And it's like,
Nedry,
and he's the one that gets spat on in the face.
Yeah.
So I do think him I don't know why. I only think he gets spat on.
As a cast, the full ensemble, if you like, they're really good.
And Sam Jackson's in it.
Samuel L. Jackson's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, like. It's a bit like that Deep Blue Sea moment, where they kill him off. It's like, you kill off Sam.
Is he in that?
Yeah. Well, he gets killed off, yeah. But,
so what do you think about the casting, though? What do you think about the casting?
Richard Attenborough, fantastic. Legend.
British.
At the time, Sir Richard Attenborough.
Absolute legend. God rest him.
Yeah. Although, funny story, when I were a kid, my mum were like, she was saying, it's Richard Attenborough, that's David Attenborough's brother. I refused to believe it for a good long while. Yeah. No, he sounds fuck all like him. I didn't swear at my mum, but, no, he sounds... Yeah, hey up. Hey up, man! Fuck off. No, but... refused to believe it. No, Ian, Mark is his brother.
True story.
True story. It's his brother. But yeah, plays it so well. Legendary actor. And
And do you know what?
He
was in a lot of different types of film. He played like a fucking serial killer, mate. You know, in Rillington Road.
10 Rillington
That's
Place.
it, yeah.
10
It's a true
Rillington
story.
Place.
It's a true story, that.
True story, that.
So he can play, and he played I'm a cad. He played the cad role.
Yeah.
He played the military role.
Yeah, he can do so much.
Absolute ledge.
Now,
British acting ledge.
Apparently, he just did it straight away. Like, they rang him up and said, "Do you want to be in latest
How old was he at the time?
Oh, he got to be in his early 60s at least.
Okay.
And yeah, apparently he just went bang straight away.
Right, I'll do it.
Yeah. Do you want to be in a new Steven Spielberg film?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, also maybe I don't know. Maybe he'd overspent a little bit. New Steven Spielberg film that'll make money bang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I believe that's how Sam Neill was cast as well. He just went, Steven Spielberg, get him in.
Yeah, exactly. There's an interview where basically he's just said Steven Spielberg film got dinosaurs.
Laura Dern as well.
Laura Dern.
Who was she was quite an arty.
She's another one. I really like Laura Dern. She's a good actress.
I think she dabbles still. She does dabble.
She does dabble, and she's been in lots of different.
Yeah.
You've got culty films like this, and more recently, she were in like your more sort of highbrow adaptation of like Little Women and stuff like that. Like a very well respected.
She was in that
novel.
I don't know if you've probably not seen it, but she was in a film with Nick Cage called Wild at Heart, where I think they play like ex-junkies or alcoholics or something, and I think that's where she made a name in that film. I believe in the 80s.
And I enjoyed Laura Dern. The thing I enjoy Laura Dern about in this film is her facial expressions the whole time. Brilliant facial. Just like she's there looking at her
shock, horror, wonder.
At her thing, and like he literally turns her fucking head, nearly breaks her fucking neck.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
I'd be there fucking fuming. Could you imagine if you fella, you were there looking at something like. See, this is Americans. No bloody British mother woman had allowed that. They'd be like, "Get the fuck off me, doing that!" Like,
don't touch me.
Literally turns her head.
But he's turning it to see a fucking dinosaur.
And her face is.
Yeah.
I'm doing the face, everybody.
Doing the face of Laura Dern.
Yeah, it's pure shock, and then the moment where you first see the brachiosaur. With a great piece of cinematography, it's like sort of facing up.
Yeah.
So it looks even bigger.
It's their POV.
Yeah, genius piece. And he goes, it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Genius, just tiny little little piece of acting of just a little stutter. It's a dinosaur.
Yeah, like look at this fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, and they just react beautifully to it.
I think everyone. Obviously.
I don't think there's a weak actor.
There's not.
Not at all. I always forget his frigging name. Even the guy who plays like the park warden.
Fuck knows.
Nobody knows. You know, clever girl.
Oh, mate, clever girl. What a line.
What a line.
And he's just there, and then the camera's at the side of him, and then you just see the head come out.
You think he's ace because before that, when he'd sent her off, she's like,
he's like, I know
because we're being hunted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's such a badass, and I don't think even he's good. And I've never seen him in bugger all since.
Knows who he is.
And
who is
never seen. Who is he? Who is that cunt?
You said the good word. You said the C word. I'm leaving it in.
Anyway, we'll be back in a moment because
we're having a break.
You're having a break.
So we'll see you soon for part 3, guys.
Hello. Right, so we're back. The cast were just in general to wrap up the cast part. He said it's a strong cast. There isn't a weak. There is not a weak.
Even the kids.
Even the kids are really good. I tell you what's good about the kids. The girl playing Lex. Best screamer. On-screen ever. That should get yes, absolutely. That fucking scream that she can do is great scream. You know what I mean? They were even saying in interviews like Paul Lash she went home with practically no voice because she's just having to fucking wail her fucking
dedicated, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what a dedicated
even the kids are not hideously annoying, which is really all you can ask for when it comes to child actors, isn't it? They're not hideously annoying.
Plus, I think, it is, obviously this is coming from the book. I do think it's interesting because you do have to have that. Not only if you've got dinosaurs after you, but you've got to protect the kids. So there's
exactly.
that, there's that maternal thing.
And there is a lot of theming of responsibility in Jurassic Park. Like, they've created these creatures and they're just looking to make money out of it, but you can't do that. You're playing God, you're taking up a responsibility.
And again, I think it's a morality tale,
And so, like, the theme, the main character growth of our main character is, of course, for him learning not just to take care of himself and what he immediately wants, which is, of course, just his missus. Like, that seems his only main motivation, but he's also learning to take care of these other...
Yeah, because he does set that rule. He does set that at the very early stages of the film, where he's like, kids are a responsibility thing. Yeah, that's what it is.
Don't like kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a main theme, I'd say that's probably it. There's the obvious, slightly hackneyed one of don't play God, but As a theme, it's also very good.
I also think in term, and the other side of that is how wondrous science can be.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it does have that. It does get that across in terms of look at the little velociraptors, and it's and look what we can do.
Yeah, and it's very much trying to say. It's okay to be fascinated by these things, but also know that anything you do has a consequence.
Just because you can, just because you should.
Yeah, they were so preoccupied thinking as to whether or not they could, they never stopped to think of whether they should. I mean, that's a strong message to say to, and this is a time where there's a lot of talk about genetic engineering, and you know what I mean.
Remember Dolly the sheep?
This is just coming to people's consciousness, and so obviously, yeah, it's a very exaggerated and profitable way of doing it, but there is also a warning there if you care to look into messages for films. Some people don't. Some people just like to watch them.
But also as well, I think the situation of the film is it's a multi-billionaire. I think Hammond is supposed to be in the film. And
they describe him in the synopsis as wealthy industrialist.
Yeah, well there you go then.
You know what I mean? And also, the reason I think they've gone for wealthy industrialist is quite a lot of.
It's easy to explain how it can be funded, and that's how you don't just get me and you going, "Oh, I've created it." Like you need a very easy way to explain that.
It's very much, though, I would say, in that sort of late 19th, early 20th century idea of an industrialist, a rich man will leave something behind, something not just for himself but for society, and I think that's you might call it paternalism, or you might call it there's.
I see where you come from.
It's a slightly conservative idea of the rich people's responsibility to society, and he wants to leave something behind, and he has such a fascination with science, even though he himself isn't a scientist, and he has such a fascination with life, but also how to make money from it. He wants to make a park. He wants to make.
Well, that's it. It's a theme park.
It is a theme park, and so there's shades of men like Walt Disney, and
well, it's mentioned, isn't it? Walt Disney's referenced in the film.
You know what I mean? And
Disneyland, and
very, very much that sort of wealthy media mogul industrialist who wants to make people happy, to give something back with his millions, which I think is it's a positive way of looking at it. But the film also don't shy away of that, basically saying to him that also in itself is somewhat selfish.
And I presume the book does go a bit deeper into that theme.
It does. Yeah. Well, they lighten him very much for the film. He is, from what I remember of the book, is a much darker, more bottom line.
Well, he's like Grandad, and he's like got a beard and he's got a walking cane and this, that, and the other.
It's really nice. It's Richard. It's Santa. Like it's literally Father Christmas. It's Richard Attenborough.
Yeah.
By then, I know we talked about his range earlier, but by then he was very much being sort of typecast in the nice older gentleman role. Which is fine.
Which is fine. Because that's what he was then.
It's fucking Richard Attenborough.
He hasn't got nothing to prove. He could just come in and do a role, and there you go.
But yeah, to wrap up on the cast, they're very strong. I totally
agree.
One.
I think it is a really it is a very strong.
Because some films you just think to yourself, oh God,
anyone could do that.
Yeah, either anyone could do that, or someone does something absolutely like, oh yeah, like you snuck that in under the edit, didn't you? That piece of acting gem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of any moment in that film where you think, oh God, Jesus.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's a solid cast. I think you have a mix of experience in there, someone with a bit of chops, like Sam Neill, and then you've got someone that can add that.
I mean, Jeff Goldblum
curiosity from Jeff Goldblum's
He does very much add that of.
And the lawyer dude as well that gets twisted by the
lawyer gets eaten on the bog.
Yeah,
I do distinctly remember getting just losing my shit laughing about that moment. He's just there, literally shaking to his shit himself.
Bang.
And the T-Rex. Right. And also, considering that most of the time the cast when they're looking at these dinosaurs, are interacting with fuck all. Bugger out. There's, You know what I mean? There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Apparently, just to give him some stage presence, Steven Spielberg would make dinosaur noises off screen. That has got to be a weird acting moment for your career if you're Sam Neill or Laura Dern, and there's literally Steven Spielberg there
Plus as well, I think what's interesting is if you look, obviously, I think that was the very, very beginnings of that's just normal now. Stuff like that is normal, and 90% of films get made. They have some sort of special effects shots in there. And I think that's actors. Because I remember seeing some interviews from the early 90s, it's really weird, man, and I've got to look at a tennis ball and it's on a 12-foot stick, and whereas now you're just like, I expect that now.
Yeah, most, again to quote you, tippy-top actors that we've got at the minute will now be very familiar of how to act around something 100%, that isn't...
Yeah, it's true.
But then, that is pretty new.
Yeah,
to people.
You've
got to hand it to the whole cast.
Yeah.
That when they're looking and interacting with stuff that isn't necessarily there yet, they do very well with it. Because we've spoke very thematically. We spoke very about the film about Ghostbusters, but about this we've spoke a lot more thematically. I just want to highlight a few scenes basically that I just absolutely love.
I do have a couple of scenes from the film that I just think they're
the opening
brilliant.
Credits there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mate, just as a moment, to be like.
Yeah. Plus,
with leading in, they haven't gone with a big they could have gone with a big bombastic film and just motherfucking dinosaurs.
Just to jump in there, right? Also, it was the first film that had a new sound code, if you're into sound and stuff now, these Dolby Digital and DTS now, they're kind of like the industry standards. But it was the first film to feature a DTS soundtrack, which stands for Digital Theatre System, which. It's a better, for want of better words, is a better quality sound than what was available at the time.
Yeah.
Basically, and Spielberg was like, I want this film to have a unique sound.
Yeah.
So from a kick-off, he went in there knowing, and I think the film, like with the T-Rex Raw, you know, with like just even the sound design of the film, you can tell he went out building a world or want to build a world there.
Yeah.
So yeah, talking
Absolutely.
about when that so there you go, ties into the sound.
Noise that it makes. It's just really good lead you in.
Yeah.
And it's a very monster movie kind of moment, like, because
I agree. Interesting point.
You can almost, it sounds like a heavy thing's foot. Boom. You know, it's a good moment.
And then it's him with his stick and they're doing the digging and...
what's another scene that I always want? Oh, just again from a public's perception of the science of fossil and dinosaur study, paleontology. There was another good moment of right at the beginning where he's explaining to his audience how they're much more bird-like than, at least the raptors. So these. Called theropod dinosaurs, like that they're much more, that maybe they have much more in common with modern day birds than they do with reptiles, as he says in the thing. Now that was pretty well known within the scientific and paleontological community, but to your just average movie going audience in that summer, they'd be like, oh, I've learned something, you know. That's an interesting point. They wouldn't know that. Back then, if they could have thought, what's the closest sort of living relationship to a dinosaur now, they'd have said something like a crocodile. At that
prehistoric
time,
looking.
You know what I mean? Something prehistoric looking, and it's like, no, you know that pigeon? It's literally a dinosaur. Like, you know what I mean?
Its lineage.
It's literally a dinosaur. They're even part of the wider, it's called group or clade or something called the archosaurs, and a bird is still in there. Yeah. Like, you know, they even now call the dinosaurs that we call the dinosaurs, if you're being very technical, they're non-avian dinosaurs. Avian dinosaurs are birds.
I think I've seen that reference.
But
somewhere.
anyway, but I just think, oh, that's a nice moment. You've literally taught the audience something. You didn't need to put that. You didn't need to put that in there. They could have just been like digging up a raptor here. Raptors are going to be a big thing.
I don't know who adapted
Michael Crichton did write quite a lot of the screenplay for it. It went through 800 million rewrites so I have no idea what could get. It went through the filter and probably back through.
I genuinely don't know. I don't know.
So yeah. So, nice little moment, but I also loved the bit with that kid went, that doesn't look very scary.
Yeah.
Oh no, kill him. Yeah. Kill the little... You know what I mean? Just to go up to a bunch of adults there, doing their job, they're working the little crap.
Yeah.
That doesn't look very scary.
He's scanning the ground.
Yeah, and he literally rips him to bits. You know what I mean? And
that's his one that he's souveniring, that he's in his pocket.
With this claw. And it's like, oh yeah, they disembowel you, and this kid's just there being traumatised.
Which has
by
way more impact in terms of him and Velociraptors in number 3.
Yeah,
you see him interacting more with them, and he's like, oh, and also acts around the way. Whereas this one is just like, they come with me, I've got to fucking run.
Yeah, no, I know exactly.
Not to touch
because she even says like, whoa, like, you really pulled the gun on the kid, didn't you? Like, and I just think that it's a really funny scene, like, because I'd do that, and it's like, yeah, traumatised a little bastard. Interrupting me, I was giving my little lecture, and this little snot bag. That doesn't look very scary.
Again, you know what it does? You know what it's doing? What Ghostbusters did? It's planting the seeds to go, these are dangerous motherfuckers.
It is planting the seed, it's planting and payoff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like... He's into his raptors. That's his main theory of study. But because even later, because we're going to bring it in, he's holding the recently hatched dinosaur, and he goes in his best, most ominous, mingled fucking New Zealand American accent. What species is this? And he's like,
shit.
And the scientist just goes, oh, that's Velociraptor, and he says it so nonchalantly, Velociraptor, and he's like, you bred raptors. seeds there.
Yeah.
Not only has it been planted, it's been reinforced, and then we'll get it later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's the main thing, because that's the other thing we were talking about. Without there being a strong villain, I think if there's anything, your big main villain is the Raptors.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and do you think? And that's another kind of bait and switch that the film has done. Because who do you think is going to be the big bad thing? It's the fucking T-Rex.
T-Rex. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm not gonna say T-Rex doesn't have its moment, because it's definitely there on my.
Well, he eats the man on the toilet.
You know, he eats the man on the toilet, but that is not the main moment with the T-Rex. The T-Rex is that moment where it fucking steps out and roars, and you're just like, oh my god, it's a motherfucking T-Rex! It's a motherfucking T-Rex! You know what I mean? It's such a beautiful moment. Stands out.
It is a great scene.
And the roar.
Yeah, I know.
The roar,
I know.
Chris.
I know.
Is the. I don't know who the sign designer was. I should have realistically found that out. Because that sound, whatever magical combination of sounds, because it's always a combination of sounds.
Yeah, and like one's played backwards and all that shit.
That came with that throaty. It's throaty noise. It's almost like it's shouting.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
It's almost it's basically screaming out because I'm a motherfucking T-Rex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is great.
Beautiful moment.
And like you say, the sound design in it is brilliant.
Absolutely epic. But I got ahead of myself. It's backtracking, guys, immediately.
Okay. Rewind.
Another scene that I really like, because it's a really nice little dump of exposition, because you could have had Hammond telling us, or the scientist. No, they give you a little screen thing, like a little tour
it's
that you'd have at Disney.
Storytelling, Mark. It's clever storytelling. It's giving bite size. You're feeling low. Exposition's massive, but to go, I'm gonna put this into a package where
this is
you're gonna get everything
information.
you need. Yeah.
This is important information that the audience needs to know and it needs to learn, but also it would have been too wordy for
someone just to stand there and
say it, because a lot of the time it comes across as false in acting, because if someone says, why is that? You when you're just talking to someone, tend to give short answers unless you're in a conversation like this.
Yeah.
You tend to give short answers. Whereas in the film, where you go, oh, so why have you done this then? You get like a real person and be like, oh, I just wanted to do it because of this and that and the other reason, and they'd leave it as that. They're not going to go, well, I found a fly in some amber, and what I thought we'd do, it's got some blood still in it. That it's fucking old amber as well. Tell you what, we'll get some blood. You know what I mean? You'd be like, there's a lot of info. I was making pleasantries with you.
They do it. They time it well, because again, it's a theme park. It's a ride.
Yeah, and
you've got to go bang, 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 bang. I'm getting it, and I like the little DNA dude, and he's like, "Oh, we found frogs, and we put the DNA in the frogs."
It's very Disney Channel, or rather, something you'd watch in Disney World.
Yeah, exactly. I've been a fucking.
It's very like that. So
it is.
It's quite clever.
It is good.
I like that.
It's very good. The style of it, how they did it, it's good.
As well. What else can I raise? Obviously, there's the T-Rex stepping out, and they build it up so well. They're there, they got stuck, and I mean,
and they're chasing the kids in the kitchen as well. The Raptors with the
I'm getting to that. I've a few more that I really, really like. Well, there's one that I really, really it comes close to ruining the film for me. Right, it doesn't really, but like,
that's a bit.
It's a gross bit where she gets snotted on by that thing. Right, I'm not a fan of generally gross films. I don't like gross out. Right, I've never been into it.
Okay.
I will blanch. I will look away.
Gory films? And
yeah,
stuff like that.
Fucking ruined Titanic with them fucking gobbing off outside at ship. Dirty bastard. I'd be marching up them two gobbing off outside a thing. I'd throw her in. See, bang, bang. Maybe there's a door you can float on.
No.
But anyway, when she gets snotted on, and a piece of dinosaur snot lands on her lip like that, and I'm like, get it off! I'd kick her out the tree. I'd just be like, bang! Kick her out. I'd kick her out the tree.
Fuck off.
You're not coming near me. You can boot her out the tree. It disgusts me. I'm like, no.
Jesus.
No, it lands on her lip, Chris.
I know, alright, okay. Yeah. And the fact that it's snot as well, that's like...
Yeah, I know, it's not
automatically
even just like a fleck of a bogey. It's snot, full gobbled snot, cake of snot, escapes from head to toe. I feel like I don't care what's in that forest over there.
I'm gone.
But you go to that stream and clean yourself up.
Oh.
Now, I don't care if it's got a massive crocodile in it. Get there. Yeah, I just can't be doing with it. So I had to raise it. Another good scene where the Gallimimus herd. That's another dinosaur in there.
Yeah. Gallimimus. And that where the T-Rex just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, still screaming that ace scream because it's a motherfucking T-Rex.
It is a very good sound.
But all this time as well, and bearing in mind you've barely seen the raptors. As a matter of fact, I don't think you've seen them at all at this point. You've been
when they're in the enclosure, you only see trees moving.
Stuff. You know,
when they lower the cow in.
Yeah. You know, you haven't seen them at all, but again, it's building it up. They can see the eggs. Thing. They're definitely raptor eggs.
And that's when he's like, I thought they were asexual and don't breathe.
And he's like, and you know this. And again, the film just takes a moment just to teach you something, like, some frogs can, you know, change sex. It changed sex from male to female in a single sex environment. And I'm like, no. We've learned something. Once again, the film might as well have gone. These are fun facts, guys. Let's have fun with them.
Go.
It's a wonderful, wonderful little moment.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. Again,
it's planting the scene. Oh, the raptors are dangerous. Not only are they dangerous, they can breed now.
There's more.
You know what I mean? There will be more of them, and obviously after that point, they get back to the centre. Oh, which by the way, you know, right at the beginning they're still painting it and putting it together.
Yeah, it's in progress.
That's literally because the set was in progress when they were filming it. The set was in progress, and
again, master filmmaker using what he's got.
He was like, "Oh, let's just do it," and it's a new park. They'd be putting it together anyway. Yeah. Cool, let's do that then. So yeah. Oh, and this is going well back, but I forgot a scene that I really like. The inspiration for the Jurassic Park gates were the gates in King Kong.
Yeah, the King Kong. I knew
and it's literally referenced when they go through. Jeff Goldblum goes, "What they got in there, King Kong."
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a throwaway line, but you're like, aha,
yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, we do know that. I do know they were designed for the original Fay Ray King Kong 1933 version. Yeah,
and you know they look cool, and you know the do.
Oh, don't get me started on the score. The score's amazing. It's iconic, isn't it? You know.
You know what I mean?
I mean, John Williams, I think
John
it was,
Williams,
wasn't it? I mean, come on, yeah. John Williams. He's the tippy top.
Well, he's another one where it's like you got Spielberg and him, the tippy top.
The absolute pinnacle.
So, yeah. And then I feel like I've got to say the best scene in the whole film has got to be the raptor kitchen scene. It's just so iconic. It's such a wonderful moment.
Do you know why I think it's so iconic? It's the terror of it. It sticks with you. I think it's
builds and builds and builds.
Tension.
And he knew exactly how long that film needed to last, and it builds to such a crescendo.
Yeah,
I totally agree. To such an extent where the blast of it is it's a bit of a letdown, but I think that only also makes it kind of better. It was never about the break into the chase moment too much. It was all about building it up. They'd figured out how to open doors.
Yeah, that's a good scene. It is a good. I mean, it's probably it's full of great scenes. Again, another film that's full of great scenes. But I do think because, excuse me, that's the beverage, beverage for the show, and I do think because it's a quiet scene, but
And they're building all the time, and then just as it's walking, and
you're right, that's it.
Clacks its nail, claw.
Yeah,
it's not his fucking nail.
And it shows it. It's the close up of his when he does it as well.
You know, and just these two kids, and just how actually clever and resourceful. But the two kids play it to such an extent where they're clearly terrified, genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
But fight or flight has kicked in these kids, where they've literally just thought, "I need to get out of this."
Yeah.
They're so scared. They're actually efficient. Like they literally double cross the thing when she hides
in the air.
Hides in the air thing.
You see the reflection.
They sees reflection and literally comes so twat it. And even the other little kid, he runs through the ice, the freezer. You know what I mean? He's thinking even there's something. The little lad is thinking ahead because he wants to survive, and it's just it's a really good scene where not only do you really want these kids to get out of it, you really want them to get out of it, and realistically, there was no realistic chance in a film that's what a PG that either of these.
You're not going to get.
You know what I mean? If you're looking at it in a meta way, there was no way they were going to die. But even as an adult, when you watch it and you watch it and you know they're not going to die, it still gives you a moment.
And I think that's why for me it's my favourite scene of the film, because I think it shows.
I don't think that this will be realistically controversial. I think it would. If you polled people, it will be bang. It's got to be the Raptor kitchen scene.
Do you reckon?
It's got to be. It's either that or the arrival of the motherfucking T-Rex.
Yeah, I agree. I think both people are going to sway to that because it's Manchester. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very big wide shot of it's just bang, and there's the scale. So you get in the scale, you get in the sound, you get in the. It's out, it's escaped, we're fucked now.
Yeah.
You know, and again, putting that seed there to go, this is the bad guy, when in reality it's not, it's the Raptors. Yeah. Whereas you've got a lot, the scene, it's enclosed, it's in a kitchen, do you know what I mean? And you've got only so many options. Plus, I think, again, I've said it a few times already, where it shows the skill of a very good filmmaker at his peak, where he knows how to pace the scene, he knows... We're not going to kill these kids, but how can I make the audience follow me on this journey to go, oh shit.
I'd get with that. There's always got with something that's a family-friendly film, but there's always got to be an underlying sense of
danger.
There has to be still a sense of danger where the audience can suspend the disbelief of what they know about the actual outside world and fucking censorship and all that lot, that they still think that kids could get eaten, and it does it beautifully.
It does
beautifully.
100%.
I mean, we haven't cracked any jokes about it because it's just that good.
In cinema, it's a great scene. A great scene.
Builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So yeah. And then they're just literally chasing them through the building, through the air, the aircon system. Down the
and it's like
down the skeleton building to the T-Rex, and it's so interesting. The T-Rex gets not only. Well, it isn't the final shot of the film, but the final sight of a dinosaur that you get. But also, it has a slightly heroic moment.
Well, the banner drops behind it as it's...
Oh, the banner dropping, it literally flutters in front of it. Jurassic Park.
Big wide shot. Bang.
And you
know what the sign says? When dinosaurs rule the world. And it just gradually drips down before it, and it's just in like I'm the fucking king.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
It's very that moment, but I feel like if you're looking for a monster, the monster's in a monster film, and it's a monster movie.
When you said that, I've never ever thought of it in those terms. But
it is a monster movie in its core.
I do agree.
And it's an obvious bait and switch for everything in the marketing the way through the film. You think the T-Rex is the big bad guy, and it's not. It's the Raptors. As a matter of fact, all the T-Rex is doing is just doing its natural thing. out in the wild.
Whereas
the raptors, obviously, they're also doing their natural thing, but they're also, there is an underlying threat to that.
There is a purpose to everything that they do.
And there's a level of sentient thinking that the raptors display that the T-Rex doesn't. The T-Rex is very much an animal. The reason that this film is sort of providing us a warning about how things could go is that you don't know what you'll create, and they've created this creature in the raptor that is at least clever enough to speedily figure out something that is modern. No natural raptor would have ever encountered a door.
And you know what, it's a shame that it only introduces, well, it doesn't, it hints at that thought when you're introduced to the pen of them. You know, and even like you're saying, the warden guy with the clever girl and that, you know, there's always that hint of that intelligence behind it. So, you know, I think it builds to the opening the door and you're like, oh shit, they learn quick.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's just it's so great. Of course, the final scene, wonderful scene. And just the final bit of it of, like, when
it's the breathe, you can breathe out.
There's just a nice little moment. They're on their helicopter and like
looking out the window.
Yeah, one of them's just
traumatised.
Yeah, where they get literally there.
PTSD.
He don't know what to do. Well, he is, isn't he? He don't know what the fuck
PTSD,
to do.
I'm laughing, but that's what it tries to express, doesn't it? You've just got away from where dinosaurs are actually alive and trying to fucking kill you. And you're getting away. The island's in your rear view mirror.
You know, there's just a nice moment, and you can see 3 pelicans going, which is a nice little nod to birds. They're still with us. They're still around. Life found a way to go on even beyond the dinosaurs.
Well, that's a line from the film. Life finds a way,
exactly. To a certain extent, it's a very don't tamper with nature is a slightly environmental, if you'd like, message to the film. Don't tamper with nature, because nature left to its own devices will find a way. The dinosaurs are still with us. You don't need to recreate them in the lab.
Talking about that message as well, I think that is more forced within the Jurassic World, the last couple of new Jurassic.
I do think we need to
building to that,
isn't
it?
Spend some time, because
so in terms of franchise,
we've spoken in a very nebulous way about Jurassic Park, and it's been very themey. But as a franchise, to quote what I said earlier about Ghostbusters, there are a few franchises that are as robust as a robust little franchise that Jurassic Park is.
I'm surprised it's had
I don't necessarily mean quality, because we've had highs and lows. But I think it has to be said that the appeal of dinosaurs is always going to be there. What little boy exists upon this earth isn't even passingly interested in dinosaurs. No, the creature does not exist. The creature does not exist. There is no boy at least willing to spend 10 minutes or even an hour-long film watching about dinosaurs. Don't know that kid.
Yeah, every young boy.
Yeah.
Has a period.
And I'm sure
dinosaurs.
many young girls, although I imagine that it does.
Just kids fascinated with dinosaurs at some point. I think I've been there. You've been there.
Exactly.
Everyone I know has been there.
Every kid goes through the dinosaur phase. So to a certain extent, it has a built-in audience. Where in a way you'd think about Ghostbusters that it doesn't necessarily have a bit. It had to make its built-in audience. It had to prove what its genre was. Everyone likes dinosaurs. Everyone likes an adventure film. Everyone likes Jurassic Park had its audience.
Like you say, it's a monster film, isn't it? It's hard, it's an interesting thing. And again, moving on in terms of sequels and franchise, I quite like number 2 and 3.
I like
it as a trilogy. Number 3 is not as number 2 is probably better than number 3, but number 3 has its merits.
Number 2,
William Macy's in it. It's got a big fucking birdcage. Do you know what? Again, like to kind of summarise my ideas about the sequels, right? I think number 2, you had the familiarity with Dr. Malcolm was in it, and again, it was his daughter that, it was him and his daughter needed to survive, and obviously there's another island with dinosaurs, and that's where there's more. Another island with that. And number 3, reintroduce Sam Neill's character, so you've got that link back as well. Even though the story was a bit shit, like we just got lost on an island that was full of dinosaurs.
Right.
Garbage.
The thing. Number 2 is actually a really good film.
I know.
Right. I don't think. Yeah. That's the thing. Firstly, I wouldn't have called it Lost World. I'd have just gone simple and called it Jurassic Park 2, because I feel like it confused a few people who don't necessarily... Like, Lost World, is it a remake of the old film? Or what is it? Like, you know what I mean? They should have just called it Jurassic Park.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
But, you know, they did what they did.
Yeah.
But I actually like it as a film. They go there. It's they're trying to capture a load of dinosaurs to take them to a normal zoo where you've not got to be a fucking billionaire to go there.
Like I say, do you know what I like about the sequels, Mark? I think because
but that literally does massive, like proper monster movie stuff. It rampages through a city at the end.
Again,
good stuff.
Again, right, jumping ahead. I'll come back. Jumping ahead to, I'm not a fan of the Jurassic Worlds. I'm not a fan because they lack big sequences. Now, if we was to go back and go to Jurassic Park 2, the T-Rex in human environment, in a normal human environment...
San Diego, I've been there.
That is... Bang, that's the sequence of that film. And number 3, the sequence is the big bird cage for number 3.
A set piece. What?
Yeah, whereas I don't think Jurassic World...
No, piece.
I'm not a fan of Jurassic World.
I suppose it
I don't rate them at all.
When the pterodactyls,
Pteranodons, aren't they? Is that what they call them?
Pteranodons, they get out of the pterosaur creature.
But I like the fact that it's the reveal, and you're like, hang on a minute, and then it's a big wide shot of a fucking huge bird cage, and he's like, hang on, where am I here? And then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I always remember in number 3 that scene, sequence sticking in my mind to go.
I like number 1. I've literally named it as my favourite film. Number 2, I think I don't only not hate it. I pretty rate it. Like I rate it as a film.
I mean, it's fine.
The third film, I think I would have to put in the category we gave earlier of.
I like Ghostbusters girls.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't rate it either.
I like
but
that.
the thing that I didn't like about it is that. Right, we're going into nitpicky stuff, but it's just like the plot doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's number 3?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't make even the blindest bit of fucking sense, right? For a start, like that woman is up for the fucking award for worst mother of the year.
Toni Collette. I think it's Toni Collette.
Yeah, worst fucking mother ever. She's up there with her from Home Alone, who literally abandons her
twice. She did it twice.
Like,
how'd you forget your kids twice?
I know, like I've gone on holiday, I forgot a kid. Shit.
I'm on holiday now. I know my kids not.
You forget your kid once. You right. You know you've got 4 kids. You're there every 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got all my kids.
How many kids have you got?
You know what I mean?
How many's there though?
How many's there? And she's like, I don't really know. Like I'm not watching my children at all. We leave them to watch themselves. It's like fucking, Lord of Flies out there when we get to airport.
I've never seen that.
What?
Lord of Flies.
I've never seen a film. I read the book. We had to read the book at school. It was one of us.
Oh. Right. So again, franchise. Yeah.
So, yeah, shit plot. Oh yeah, of course. I'll just let my child go and do hang gliding with his stepdad to a known danger spot.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Like anyway, and then they go into.
It is a weak plot.
Yeah, it's weak plot. It was just there as a vehicle, so they could introduce the Spinosaurus, which is cool.
And get Sam Neill back in the game.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Now, Jurassic World,
I don't know your opinions on this, so this is interesting.
Well, I have very mixed opinions on it. There's some stuff that I really like. The introduction of aquatic creatures, the mosasaur in the big lake. I like that.
Do you know what? I'll give you that because I quite like that when it comes out of the water.
When it comes up again, yeah.
And you're like, Jesus, look at the size of that.
Yeah. Comes up. Possibly a bit large for it. It's a type of mosasaur called Tylosaurus. Is that? Possibly a bit large for what it is, quite a bit large.
Dramatic effect.
But yeah, we're watching a film. Like, I'm sorry, are we here to watch a film or a documentary? Like, I get what they're doing. The bits that I like about it, as well. Again, I don't mind the kids. I don't hate the kids in that. But they're not very memorable either.
Like I say, it's not. The acting is fine. The cast is fine. Now, I'm going to come across as deeply shallow here, viewers. But that's
I like
isn't
Chris.
It,
what's his name? Pratt.
Yeah.
For deeply shallow and contemptible reasons, in that I just fancy him.
Really?
Yeah, in that I just fancy him.
Okay.
And so people are like, "Oh, he's not very good in that," and I'm like, I'm not bothered. You know.
Again,
I'm not bothered. I just swoon a little bit.
If you need me to make a comment about his acting, he's very samey in everything that he does.
He is very samey.
But I'll watch him. He's fine.
But yeah,
I wouldn't go out of my way. But he's in a film. I'm watching. He's fine.
But here's the thing about Jurassic World. It doesn't seem to... The first one, anyway, it doesn't seem to have a great deal of plot to speak of. Yes, I know it does about the genetic modification to find a kind of super dinosaur.
Shite.
You know, well, I suppose that... Well, we were on about in the first one that you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't play God.
Again...
It is building on something that is already there. It's just... a deeply boring way of doing it. Like, oh, well, we bred a T-Rex with a raptor. Well, you really thought outside the box. Like, there's a moment where... There's a moment... Right, where I genuinely bust out laughing, and the film did not intend me to bust out laughing. There's a moment where he goes, we bred it with a T-Rex and something else. Right? And there's a moment of suspense, and I immediately thought,
the first one. It's the scientist dude.
No, I know. We bred it with the T-Rex and something else that's classified, and you just immediately think, why are you withholding it? We all know it's a fucking raptor. You know what I mean? You bred it with the T-Rex and a raptor. What else is it going to be? Or is it one of the other mascots of the franchise by any chance? Fuck off. I just thought, stupid piece of thing to hold behind a curtain. We're not going to tell you what else we've bred with it because, you all know unless you've got the fucking brain the size of a dead bee. Like, you know what I mean? A bee that's already stung you and it's just about dead and is losing its fucking will to live as we speak. Everyone else knew it was a raptor. It's a raptor, innit?
Yeah.
So that moment where it's like, he's riding his motorbike with his pet raptors, which is another fucking stupid bit of it. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, there, get him like the Pokemon or something like that. You know
Catch them all.
You know what I mean? He sends out his raptors. I choose you, 3 raptors. Go and attack the thing.
I'm not a fan.
And they look at each other and they're like, oh, I'm going to join that one. Well, never, because it's a pack animal and you've literally given it the king of fucking raptors. Stupid of a film.
And also...
But it's nitpicky. There's nothing wrong with the film. There's nothing wrong with the film. That's nitpicky fanboy bollocks, is that. What if you think about it just as a film, they go to the island. Oh, well, you don't even go there.
I don't rate it, you know.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
the thing.
I don't hate it and don't rate it. I got to see dinosaurs on screen. I'm alright with it.
And to be fair, it's not like...
And it has this gossamer thin plot point of, like, there's the guy, our new warden, if you know what I mean, who like wants to utilise him for military means or whatever, and it's just so blatant.
Vincent D'Onofrio is called.
It could be a good plot point.
I forgot all about him.
It
That's
could
how
be
much I give a shit.
Yeah, but they didn't give a shit about the subplot. They sort of raised it and then dropped it with like hot shit when it was like, oh no, we've got awkward banter to be doing between Chris Pratt and that ginger woman.
In the second one.
Oh, another thing. When she's there, she leads the T-Rex and she legs it down the thing wearing biggest heels I've ever seen in my life. You've got flat on your face, love. Yeah. Bang! Me and my mate have spoke about this this load, she'd break her ankle. Like, what is she doing? She twats it down there like she's Usain Bolt. Pelts it.
No, seconds.
Yeah, pelts it down there. She could be at Olympics. You know what I mean? And she's done it in 6-inch heels. Bollocks, you hadn't done that.
And to be fair, the redeeming thing about it's what is it called? Fallen Kingdom. Like the last one is that sequence where when they're on the boat going away and he sees that Bronchius, so it's like
the Bronchius, and you're like,
it's
a beautiful moment.
I'm wiping the tear away.
I tell you what that reminded me of.
Wiping the tear away.
Reminded me of the Brachiosaur raising up a moment in shadow. Land Before Time. Immediately thought of Land Before Time.
I've seen that for years.
Podcast.
Yeah, we're doing a show on Land Before Time.
But
probably.
Anyway, it reminded me of that because like his mother fighting against the motherfucking T-Rex in that. They show it in shadow up against the wall. Oh, beautiful moment. It's a reference. I don't know it. I'm talking cold hard rumour here, but I am making up the thought that they had Land Before Time as an inspiration for that scene. But what I do like about Fallen Kingdom is, once again, it's Gossamer thing is the plot. Like, no, but like they're going back to the island because it's going to explode because there's a volcano now, apparently. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Hitherto unmentioned volcano.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, maybe it's in the book. Maybe there's a volcano in the book. I don't know. I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
They're just making it up now.
But there's a volcano now. Yeah. Someone's. Like,
and then we'll sell them all to the highest bidder. Like,
it's fine. It's fine. It works as a plot, and it links in with that guy who's wanting to use them for military means or whatever. Yeah. But I like the fact that they've given it a jumping off point where they could do something interesting.
Do you know what they did when they announced it? They kind of basically said from the get-go, we're going to do a trilogy from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know,
which linking back to right at the beginning of when. I don't know, 1880 when we started this podcast now, right? That back then they didn't make something that to be sequelized, and now we're looking at a franchise that not only had sequels but is wanting to spawn an almost never-ending. Yeah. There's a never-ending amount of Jurassic Park before us, which I'm fine with because there'll be interesting dinosaurs. I feel like the general public will get.
Do you know what? Fatigued. Going forward, I think after the new one, I think they'll leave it for a bit.
I think they should leave it.
I think they'll dormant it for a bit, maybe a good 5-10 years, and then like cycles again, mate. It's all cycles, isn't it? You know, a movie making is very much built on cycles and fads, and you know, look at all. You just think of all the films you read about that never get made, and then all the shit that gets made, and you're like, it is what it is. There's nothing, you know what I mean? It's puzzling. It's fucking puzzling how these men in the High Castle thinks about what should we make? We'll make that, but we won't make that.
I think sometimes with a lot of films, sometimes they just need to learn when to leave it alone. I think a lesson that needs relearning about films and franchises now is to know when something is done and it needs to be over.
Well, that ties back into Ghostbusters, where as I said, I wish they would have made more, but maybe it's best that they didn't. And they learned from number two.
I think sometimes you can't. There is an old adage that you can't really appreciate anything until it's gone. You know what I mean? Until it's over, until something has ended, you have no real appreciation because you're constantly thinking to yourself, maybe the next one will be as good as that thing, and I really want this to happen. You can only actually understand. I mean, I'm an historian, like.
True.
So, you can only realistically fully understand something in retrospect.
Yeah. Well, this is why we're doing the podcast. You know, it is it is called the Vault of Cult, and you know, we will be, for want of better words, be pulling things out of the vault to discuss. Yeah. And you know, we're doing this podcast because we want to talk about things that we love, and we want to get people on the pod and to come on the show to talk about things and films that they love too. But also, what we're trying to do is it in a context of, like I said at the beginning, retro, cult, you know, and that. And I think retro cult and pop culture, it's just what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, let's not be fan, like you say. Mark makes the point of we don't want to be fanboy about things. We don't want to pick the bones and pick holes and moan because there's just too much of that going on in the world. We're doing it because it's fun. We enjoy each other's company. We want to get people on here that we want to ask them questions about why they like something. Again, don't have to be a reason, but let's discuss. Let's get people on that.
I mean, there does have to be a reason if we get them on the podcast. Like, you can't just be like, I like that. Why is that then? Don't know, just do. Oh, well, thank you for coming. Like, do you know what I mean? Thank God.
No, but the point of the Vault of Cult is to talk about things from your past that you love.
Pull some things out the vault. Fucking...
It's
like
there,
Disney, like,
and it can be anything.
Like Disney, but more sweary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not for the kids. Don't listen to it on the morning going and taking them to school.
Oh, Michael will love this. I'll put this on radio.
Yeah.
Bluetooth, and we're sat there like, what a twat!
Yeah.
That is. I hate that guy.
How shit is that?
Yeah. Wank.
But yeah, I think I don't know how Mark feels, but I think it's a good place to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoy listening. I know it's going to be quite long, but it is our first one. We are going to go and streamline it in the near future.
We're aiming for much shorter than however long this ends
3 hours, nearly
3
now.
hours. Well, right.
But, it's 3 parts, so just that, I hope you enjoy it and we've made you laugh and we've informed you at the same time, because that's what this is about, We're not here to compete, we're here to contribute. So I just want to say from me, I appreciate you listening. I know we've talked utter shit, but going forward, we will be streamlining it a lot and we've been a bit more professional. So I appreciate you guys.
It will have a structure, but basically, long story short, never done this before, and he likes Ghostbusters and I like Jurassic Park, and they're banging films, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Bangers.
So,
absolute tippy topper. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Please come back, and obviously when we upload it, if you can make comments and rate, we'd really, 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 really appreciate it, guys. And if you can share it, even if you're not a fan of it, share it, because someone out there is going to listen to us, and they're the kind of people we're trying to, reach right now. People who want to listen to people talk about stuff that they love.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys, and goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
See you later. Look after yourselves.
All right, Chris, bloody hell.